3, 2, 1, and we are live on the tube.
No. Yo.
What up, tube?
We are live on the tube.
Hi, internet.
We are
How's it
tube
going?
live. Tube live.
Tube life.
Tube life.
We're living the tube life.
It's like
Andy's
vape life,
back.
but much worse.
Back again.
But
Yeah,
by the way,
you know
the
Andy's
YouTube description says episode 32 malts on it at the moment, Chris.
You can't get the fucking staff, can you?
Rank
It doesn't
amateurs.
say
Is it-
malts.
It fucking does.
No, you're looking at it wrong, mate. It doesn't say that at all.
Is that because we're having to redo your fuck up from last time?
Okay then.
It says hops and stuff.
Close your trap, Andy. You get replaced with a picture of a fermenter in a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's changed. That was miraculous.
I've no idea how that happened.
Seamless.
They'll never know. The perfect crime.
It was indeed the perfect crime.
What's Owen munching on there?
I think he's having his tea.
Some Tesco onion rings. Yeah, I'm eating my dinner.
That's going to be great. Oh, and you're going to be giving... I'm getting onion from this hop
Man.
tester beer.
Yeah, that's a perfect palate cleanser for just before you do your ear tasting. Good work,
roll,
sir.
guys.
Good work.
Get the
Okay.
pickle ginger out.
Okay, so hello
No, but-
YouTube. Just so that you are aware, if you've been lucky enough to be sent one of the hop tester beers by Mr. Tricky, which I know a couple of people have, is it Luke Stevens and Richie Brooks?
Correct.
Yo, so we've got Lukey Stevens and Richard Brooks.
He's
If you guys have
Richard's
got your
on.
hop tester beers in front of you, you may want to put them in a glass because that's going to be one of the first things that we do after
Oh,
Tricky has done the intro.
What?
Nice.
I'm doing an intro.
Oh, wait there. No. It's Owen's turn to do the intro.
Hold
Oh,
on.
phew.
I did
Thank
the
God for
last
that.
one, didn't I?
I don't know.
All right. What are we talking about?
Come on, Owen. You've got to get the ladies in the mood.
Yeah. To all our female listeners, I'm sure there's many.
None.
Apart from Tricky's wife that may occasionally quality check the podcast.
Never
I'm
more
sure
than 3 minutes in, though, eh?
My missus is listening to this podcast and she's just like, it's just all about just guys. It's
Such a
all
lad.
guys. Such a lad
I know,
podcast.
I know
Lads,
which one this
lads,
is.
Lads.
lads.
That smells amazing. Amazing.
Amazing.
The aroma.
The
International
Hop
Beer
Edition
Day from
podcast.
Johan Klassen in the Hizay. I still haven't had those beers, Johan. I think the guys at Customs must have drunk them all. Which is annoying. So I'm going to have to order some. What's that, Trick?
It's the hop tester.
Well, at least yours is clear.
Yeah, had a little bit longer sat in the keg. I cleared
Yeah.
all the murky pints out, sending them to you guys.
Oh, it's all right for you, isn't it, Tricky?
Well,
Eh?
Okay, Luke, just in case you're joining us now, get your hop tester beer in a glass because that's what we're going to be doing in a moment. We're going to be starting the recording and I'm going to be minimizing Audacity. So, Tricky, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to be vaping like a chimney. Because you're on holiday, so you've got time to be able to deal with that shit.
Does that mean
Irate.
say it? Does that
You
mean say I can
fucking people with your vapes.
Chris, you know it's going to be you that's going to have to edit it because
Yeah, I know.
Tricky's that lazy.
And to be fair,
My
I don't give a
check,
shit.
my check.
I
He
don't
just
give a shit.
puts it up with all of the background noises. He don't care.
No, I don't. I filter most of it.
Fuck off.
I do. I filter some. Okay, some. A bit.
For
Occasionally.
the first like 2 minutes, and then you get bored.
No, I just apply filters to the entire run and just leave it at that. I'm not listening to the whole of this shit again. Okay, gentlemen, are we ready on Audacity? Andy, stop snorting the beer.
Oh, it's so good, Tricky.
Stop
Well done,
snorting.
mate.
I haven't even
Well done.
poured mine yet.
I know what I'm getting on the nose.
Right, who's doing the intro, or do you guys just want me to cover it?
I don't mind doing the intro.
Okay. Crow's Foot. Who's a Crow's Foot Brewery? Who's that? Who's it? Do we know the Crow's Foot Brewery?
Is that Eric?
I mean, I've got to admit, it's a banging name. I've never tasted a crow's foot. What's it taste like? I've had chicken feet before. They were minging.
Quite popular in China, aren't they?
It was, weirdly enough, at a Chinese restaurant, specifically a Cantonese restaurant.
Yeah. Can't say I'm a fan.
No, I really wasn't. I had one and fucking threw the rest at the person I was there with. Okay, gentlemen. 3. Owen, Andy, rather. Right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hop Edition podcast, episode 32. And tonight we're going to be doing the Hop Edition.
Edition.
No,
Actual.
the Hop Edition. Do you
The
like what I
addition.
done there?
I see
Edition.
what you did there. I see what you did.
The edition. So we're going to be talking all about hops and hop combos and hop aroma and all things hoppy goodness. So good evening, gentlemen. How are you all?
Good.
Very
Good.
good. It's actually the Hop Edition part 2, isn't it? Because we
It
did
is.
a Hop episode, and we're revisiting it with all the newfound knowledge that we've probably covered already and just forgotten about.
It's the Friday throwback.
We were slightly hammered on that particular hop version. We were pretty drunk on that one trick.
It was a long time ago as well, so probably need a
This is-
refresher, don't we?
This is pre Owen and Andy.
It is. It was one of the early ones, yeah.
It was
The
OG.
last time we looked at hops,
OG.
Yeah. Episode 2.
talk about hops all the time, though, don't we?
Yeah, but it was episode 2, mate. Me and Tricky, we put a lot of time into those notes. All of about 20 minutes.
It shined. It shined.
Oh.
So how was our summer break, guys? We're back with a bang.
We are.
Yes.
Did
Bad
anyone actually go on holiday?
No.
Yeah. Remember, I was in the lakes.
Andy had a
Good.
holiday.
I had a holiday.
Well, in fact, you were away on the last podcast. So
Yeah, I was actually in the Lake District at the time.
yeah,
I still joined in through the YouTubes.
you did. You were on the chat.
Yep. When you's
Yeah.
all up.
Gave us
Thanks.
shit via the internet.
Thanks for that. That was good.
To be fair, we did replace you with a picture of a Fermenters.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then
Yeah.
subsequently after that, a picture of a chicken or something.
There was a chicken. There was definitely a chicken for a
You
while.
were, you were a cock. Yeah.
Oh, I was a cock.
Yeah, you were a cock.
I gave you a male chicken. At least I wasn't calling you a bitch or nothing. I actually gave you a male chicken.
Fuck.
That was good of you, wasn't it?
I don't know, maybe lay some golden eggs.
Whatever floats your boat, mate. I ain't passing no eggs.
So, we're not going to be doing the normal "what you drinking tonight" because Tricky has regaled us with another hop tester beer. So I think we did the first one maybe four episodes ago,
3.
3 or
3,
4.
perhaps. Yeah.
And that hop tester beer. So the premise of this, if you're kind of new to the idea, is Tricky's brewed a beer. It's a blonde ale based recipe.
Yeah, kind of blonde ale, golden ale type thing.
Golden ale.
So pretty simple. Pilsner malt, bit of Munich, and some Caro Gold, I think it was in this. Yeah.
Caro malt.
Yeah, so Caro malt even. So fairly simple, easily repeatable base, and same yeast each time. So just US-05, and then we're going in
Classic.
with essentially the same hop schedule, and just balancing the IBUs with a bittering addition of Columbus at the beginning, so only a few grams of that. So the Columbus shouldn't really have too much of an impact on the flavour wise, but essentially it's the same platform to test the hops out. So 100 grams of each hop divided up by a couple of boil additions, Whirlpool, and then the rest into the dry hop.
So it's a mystery hop. So Andy, Chris, and
It
I
is
have,
to you
have no
guys.
idea what this hop is, and the idea is we're gonna try and figure out what it is.
That's it. So it's a blind tasting. Try and get some kind of tasting notes from you guys. See what you think. Obviously, as we mentioned previously, it's kind of different when you know what the hop is and you read the descriptors beforehand, it kind of leads you in a certain direction, usually as far as the, kind of tasting notes go and what you think you're going to perceive from it. So it was really interesting last time to get a completely, to an extent, kind of uninfluenced interpretation of what the flavors and the aromas and stuff were that were coming off of it. So yeah, should we get stuck in?
Yeah, I'm just trying to warm mine up a little bit.
Mine's been
Also,
in the fridge
I'll just preface this with the fact that I just ate a bag of onion rings, which probably wasn't
Classic.
the wisest move.
Yeah. Owen's gone for the
Classic.
BJCP recommended palate cleansing technique of scoffing a bag of onion rings prior to the beer tasting.
So if you taste
you'll
onions,
see
it's
all
not
the
that.
top level judges
Yeah.
doing this at competitions, just sort of
I'm getting a garlicky, oniony.
either
kind of
those or
undertone.
pickled onion monster munch are the highly recommended snacks, I think. For
I think the only thing that could possibly be
don't
worse
get any
would be
flavour carryover.
buffalo wings would probably be the only thing that could be worse.
Can I make my first stab, Tricky, and see
Go
if
on.
this is what's meant to come through? I'm getting strawberry on the aroma.
Mm.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then even when I'm tasting it, it's like strawberries and cream. I really like this. Like, so when you reveal what hop it is, I'll definitely need to get that because
So which hop is it that's supposed to give you like a strawberry and cream thing?
I think it's at Belma.
Is it Belma?
See, when I was first tasting this, I wouldn't have said strawberries and cream, but now that you've said it, I'm like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
strawberries and cream.
Yeah.
I was thinking I could smell licorice before Andy said strawberries and cream.
Didn't you say licorice on the last bit?
Because at first I was thinking berries.
I did, yeah.
I was like, "Is a berry thing going on?" And then I was just like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit! It's total strawberry."
I went hedgerow. I was like, yeah.
I'm getting this weird, I want to say apricot, but almost peach.
Yeah.
But don't forget,
I do get some stone fruit stuff off of this, definitely.
could USO5 not give you peach as well, though?
Some people say it does, but I mean,
Not to this extent.
I'm not convinced
Yeah,
that
this
you would
is-
taste it
yeah.
this much.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, Lukey Stevens has just said pear and melon, and I'm starting to get honeydew melon, specifically honeydew melon.
It's like a little bit of an earthy undertone to it.
I think that's the pickled onion, Chris.
No, I
There's like
think
a
there is.
woody. There's like a
I
woody.
think
earthy.
there's some earthiness and maybe a little bit of that sort of floral spiciness that you
Yeah.
get with certain hops, perhaps. I don't know.
Thanks, Tricky. Thanks, Tricky. Fuck you, Andy.
No, I did my little sort of individual tasting video last night for this, and that I did specifically mention a little bit of earthiness and some spicy floral stuff in there as well as the fruity notes. It's quite a complex flavor profile on this hop, I think.
I'm just getting pure juice, like real fruit, berry is what's coming through. Like Chris was saying, the apricot thing and the peach.
Yeah. I think hedgerow kind of berries and various other things going on there.
I don't think it's. I wouldn't say it's floral. For me, it's more. I think it's too that for me. This one anyway tastes like it's not a UK hop. I would say it's probably more American, but you boys
I'm not going to say anything yet.
Obviously, Tricky, So
This
it's
is
clearly
this
a
is what I
UK. So it's Harlequin. It's got to be Harlequin. You're trying to fuck with because obviously the last one you didn't have the UK hop, and we're all like, it's got to be.
Right. I'm
It's
not
hard.
getting any lime, so that puts
No.
New Zealand out.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris is going to go by process of elimination.
Yeah,
I think
you
this
see,
is
I
American.
thought I got lime. The first thing I smelled, I thought went, lime.
I'm not getting lime at all. But what I am getting,
Dunno.
I am getting, weirdly enough, you know the Australians, the Australian hops, specifically Vic Secret and all that sort of stuff, and Galaxy specifically, I always get
Oh, peppery.
sweet stone fruit, a little bit of pepper,
Uh-huh.
not a lot of pepper, more like a tang than anything else. Almost pink peppercorn rather than black pepper. I'm getting a little bit of that. So this is either a hop that's
Australian.
from Australia or one that's been brought in and is a daughter of an Australian. That's where
So
I'm going.
a lot of people say Vic Secret's a bit pineapple-y as well. Do you get any of that?
I'm not getting any stone fruit. I'm not getting any tropical fruit. Not much anyway, other than a little bit of peach. But that's more stone fruit than it is tropical
Yeah,
fruit.
yeah.
Apricot, peach, strawberry. Yeah, it's
If
very
I had
good.
to hazard a guess, I'd
This
say
is
European.
excellent.
I'd say it's European
Oh.
rather than English.
Yeah,
European,
I might
okay.
be leaning
Ah,
towards
it's too juicy.
maybe German. I might be thinking
Interesting.
possibly Huel Melon or maybe Belmer. I don't know if Belmer is.
I don't think Tricky
Don't
would do
think
Huel
Belmer
melon
is
to us, to be
German.
fair. It doesn't taste anything like Huel melon. I've used Huel melon quite a lot, and this is not what I got from Huel melon. I'm getting hints of roadkill badger.
Well, there's always got to be a little bit of badger in there, hasn't there? Like, I do.
Yeah.
you know,
Just a
Drop
hint
that-
of
drop
dead
that in.
badger.
Straight
just
in
a
the badger bar.
couple of days of badger.
Oh,
You gotta
that's
make
right.
Sure make sure you drop the temperature down to 10 degrees though, otherwise it can get a bit fetid. So you
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be careful with that.
I
It's
managed.
kind of-
Sorry, I did manage to find the badger bar when I was on holidays. So, Lake Districts. If you go down to Lake District near between Windermere and Ambleside, there's a cracking badger bar that does, I don't know, about 6 or 8 different cask ales at a time. So,
Have they got badger in them?
well, it's a badger bar, so it's
Fucking
clearly got to
trade
have badger.
description then, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's got to have a few floaters in there.
I would say this is European. I would say it's too fruity to be English, but I'd say it may well be one of the newer European ones.
Okay. You got any specific variety in mind?
It's too much flavour from this.
I don't know. I'm thinking possibly Pato, Zappa.
Okay. I mean, I know I'm a little bit biased because it's my beer, but I'm going in for another one.
Yeah,
It is quite tasty.
this is. It was 100 grams, Tricky.
Yeah.
That's
As it
incredible.
warms up, you're getting more of that earthiness come through.
Well, I think
Don't get
also
any
the
earthiness.
bitterness. I think the bitterness kind of does accentuate a little bit of that earthiness on the flavour.
Yeah, I found the bitterness on this one was a little bit more, I don't know, maybe assertive than on the previous beer.
I'm getting licorice on the nose, fucking maximum now. Andy,
Yeah.
give it a swirl. Warm it up and then give it a swirl.
If you give it a swirl,
Mine's just nice and warm. Mine's
If
is, it's not cold.
if you give it a swirl, you get a big old licorice thing.
I'm getting strawberries.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what-
Andy, where do you think it's from?
I think it's American.
Okay. Any specific varieties?
What was that
In
said?
mind?
Was it not Belmar or something like that?
That's Australian though, isn't it? I think?
Oh, what was that
No, it's
said?
American.
Is it?
Yeah.
Belmar. Yeah.
Okay. Owen, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the same as Andy. I think it might be Belmar. Yeah, I'm going to go Belmar.
Do you know?
I've done you all again here.
Yeah.
I haven't got a fucking clue.
It'll be Harlequin.
It is Harlequin.
Oh, fucking scumbag. What's wrong
Yes.
with you? I knew you were going to do that.
It's the double bluff.
It's fucking amazing.
That is way too fruity to be English.
Way. This is really excellent.
So
Do you know the only
Interestingly,
thing that
though-
this proves out, though? The only thing that this proves, Tricky, is that none of us have got a fucking clue what we're talking about. That's what
Well,
this
you-
proves.
No,
you
I
say
would
that though.
say-
You say that though, but a lot of the descriptors that you've pulled up kind of work. Let me just give you the sort of British Hop Association description of it. Now, when I tasted it, I didn't necessarily agree with all of this, but there were certain elements of it that I picked out and that some of you guys have picked out as well. So flavor and aroma, tropical fruit flavors and aromas, including passion fruit, peach and pineapple. Now, I don't get passion fruit personally at all, but definitely the sort of peachy stone fruit thing. For me, I did get a bit of the pineapple, but I think perhaps me reading that beforehand has maybe sort of, put that in my mind kind of thing. Complex bitterness with tropical fruit notes, flavor intensity 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think for a British hop, like definitely.
100%.
Maybe if you were putting that on the same scale as some of the other US hops, maybe not quite, but it's pretty close. And apparently it's a daughter of Godiva, which I don't really know anything about. Does anyone else know about Godiva hops?
Nope.
No. But I think I did find an interesting UK hop lineage kind of map the other day. British hop family tree. It was quite interesting. It was like going right back to the early 19th century.
But anyway, yeah, so it is a UK hop. I think it is.
Thanks, Tricky. I thought that was quite interesting.
One of the newer UK hops that is actually kind of delivering on the fruitiness.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's like necessarily hitting that like big tropical, it's not a sort of Citra or Mosaic killer, is it? But it's definitely
Tricky. You only put 100 grams in. There's only 100 grams in this.
That is true. That is something to be considered.
Which for me is insane.
For those of you who are on YouTube at the moment, this is the vape liquid I'm vaping. Okay, it is Pineberry, which is a pineapple and strawberry. I've just taken a big, massive smash of this to null my palate to strawberry and pineapple, and all I get from this is pineapple. There's so much pineapple flavor coming off of this. That's all I get. How fucking strange is that?
I think it's possibly the vape.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
You just said that you vaped a pineapple flavored vape, and now the beer tastes of pineapple.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
that's not how your tongue works.
Logic might.
I'm slightly confused now.
Argue. I think actually, like when you think about the fact that you've only put 100 grams in this beer, also,
it's packed.
It kind of indicates like when you really start to search a beer, when you really like we have just really gone to town on it, I think you actually find a lot more depth in a beer without having to add 500 grams of hops. It's not leaping out the glass by any means, right? But you can find some depth and complexity in the beer, and a Tricky, great brewing. This is a really quality beer.
Yeah, I think commercially this would do very, very well, because the quantities are probably not, it's probably cheap enough to produce for a brewery, and it's got bags of flavour.
Yeah, I could see this as like a cask kind of golden ale as well, potentially. Like, something that you could serve in various formats potentially, and it worked quite well.
Yeah, it's very, very drinkable.
I will just point out that given the fact that you've sent it out to a couple of people, Tricky, I can guarantee you that you're going to have a lot more people wanting another bottle of this hop tester. The next one that you do, when it actually comes to the next hop tester being produced, there's going to be 400 fucking people sitting on our YouTube thing going, I've got this bottle. Let's do it.
Let's go. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have
I'm gonna need to acquire some gas first to be able to do that. Because I'm suffering with the old CO2 shortage at the moment.
Tough break.
You guys just not being prepared. What can I say?
The 5 Ps. Is it 6 Ps?
7.
7.
Prior preparation and planning prevents piss poor performance.
Very good.
I'm here all week. Try the fish.
So the good news about Harlequin hops as well, being a UK hop, they're a little bit cheaper available to us. So $5.79 for 100 grams on the Malt Miller currently, which I think is really decent price. I'm not sure if they're doing kilo bags of them at the moment, but if they did, then they'd probably be a lot cheaper again. if they
I'm
were.
sorry, I don't buy hops in less than a kilo.
No.
Well, you are a Yorkshireman. After
Ain't
all.
nobody got time for that.
Oh.
Okay, so let's
Very good, Tricky. Very
let's
good.
crack on, shall we?
Cheers.
So,
Glad you enjoyed it anyway.
it was
I did.
lovely, Tricky. Very well done, mate. Another cracking beer from
Still got a bit left.
Dude's Brews. You know,
Yeah, man.
right? So, what we were drinking was definitely the hop tester. Before that, I had my alt beer, which is crystal clear and it's fucking lovely. So, a brief introduction. Just going to
Humble
cover
brag.
this one off in a few moments. No, there was nothing humble about that brag at all.
There was
the,
nothing not sarcastic about the comment I just made.
I know. I will admit, on Thursday I was planning on bottling a load of shit because me and the wife had a day free, but we barely made it out of the bedroom. So
Much.
yeah, that didn't happen.
Another humble brag.
No, I was asleep. I was asleep. Anyway, a brief intro of hops, what they are and what they do. So we use hops for flavor, aroma, and for preservation. We also use them to add bitterness to the beers because there's nothing more insipid than drinking a beer which is super sweet and doesn't actually have enough hops in it. What they are, they're a relative of the marijuana family. And basically they are amazing. They're just awesome. And without them, we wouldn't be able to make the beer that we make. So if you want to know anything more about them, go visit episode 2. Yes, episode 2, 30 episodes ago. And some heartless bastard has put leaf versus pellet. If you use leaf, then yeah, don't. 2 beers in 20 minutes. What can I say? If you use leaf hops, get out, get in the sea. And if you're using pellet, then well done. You're doing it right.
I don't agree with that.
Whoa.
Yeah, and Kia,
Can't
your
call your
favourite
jets.
brewery.
He's
I'll
had
step
it
back
as
and
well.
let you fuckers talk.
That's a bit of a hand grenade you've thrown in there.
Yeah,
in the
he's
first
had-
few
he's had-
minutes.
he's had 2 beers.
Controversial.
He's had 2 beers and he's like, shoot his mouth off.
Fighting talk already. Straight.
I'm
in
not being
there.
funny, Owen. It does not take 2 beers for me to shoot my mouth off. Fucking
Next
hell.
year he'll be like, fuck the pellets, the cryos,
Gives him 2 minutes and you shoot your
fuck
mouth off.
T90.
Well, I'll be
I
honest
think-
with you.
We've talked about leaf hops before, haven't we?
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into this.
And we
It
don't
just
need
comes
to.
down to
Well.
whatever system you're using and how how
So
they work.
you have to bag
style,
them.
maybe
Yeah, you have to bag them, don't
Yeah.
authenticity of a particular style, perhaps.
you? Yeah.
But for the purposes of the rest of the podcast, it's well known we all prefer to use pellet hops, and that is more or less.
Unless you get a big, massive, like someone turns up with bin bags of leaf hops and then you just take them anyway.
You mean your new pillows on the bed that you've?
Yeah, my pillows, that's it.
Yeah. Andy loves hops so much he's filled his bedroom pillows with leaf hop.
Well, I
Well,
got,
they're
was it
supposed to be quite good as a sleep aid, the hop pillow. So
Is that right?
yeah, no,
Is
legitimately,
that why
that's
I've been
supposed to be
sleeping so great?
that's supposed to be like some sort of old wives' cure for insomnia, is to stuff your pillow full of hops. So
But they're
Um, it's
also
Pints does the same
probably
thing.
going to be more comfortable with leaf hops rather than pellets. You just
Was it not because
sleep in
it was the old
bag of
wives that were
gravel.
actually picking the hops, Chicky?
But they're
Yeah,
aren't they
could be.
also supposed to be not so good for erectile function? Brewer's
that-
droop and all that.
That's his own speaking from
that could aid
experience.
with sleep as well, maybe.
I don't have Marvin Gaye queued up, so you can't talk about that shit, Owen.
Well, I don't know if it's a Marvin
Not that I
Gaye
would
moment.
know anything about that, by the way. Just to add, thanks,
Course you
Andy. So anyway, what are we using hops for?
We've already
What
been
do we
over
use
that.
hops for? Have we
Preservation,
done that?
flavour,
Yeah.
and aroma.
So where do you guys use your hops most often, guys? Come on.
Whirlpool.
You love a fucking whirlpool, don't you, Andy?
It's going that way, I think. The big ones, anyway. It's all going in the Whirlpool for a 60-minute.
I mean, whirlpools
Boom.
are great at adding a ridiculous amount of flavour and aroma, right?
Yeah, a lot of the breweries these days are now moving to a Whirlpool, a bigger Whirlpool edition. I think there's still some kettle hops going in. Chris is like, he's spewing at this because he's more of a 60-minute and a 15-minute edition kind of guy in his Marzen or Meerzen, should I say?
I thought he was a 2 minutes and done kind of guy. Or was that
Mate,
something? That's a different conversation, isn't it?
If it takes 2 minutes, you're doing it wrong.
If it doesn't have Hallertauer in front of it, then he's not interested.
If it's not noble,
I like to stick with the nobility.
you're a noble kind of guy.
No,
Yeah,
there's a time and place. There's a time and place.
It comes down to this. Everybody goes in ebbs and flows and peaks and troughs, and everybody has their own way of doing things. And Andy went through his German phase, and
I think I'll go back.
He's done with his German phase. He's now moved on to his whirlpooling thing, because now he's got a 250-litre system or whatever the fuck he's got there.
80 litres.
Whatever, mate. Whatever.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah,
Mate,
yeah,
80 litres is where it's at. To be
It
fair.
is. That's that one.
I'll tell you
80
something.
litres.
Johnny Pollock's got it right. If it's any more than 2 pumps and a squirt, you're doing it wrong. For me, it's very simple. If you're trying to make a beer, make the beer properly, right? Don't fuck about. Don't. If I'm making a German beer, there's going to be a 15-minute edition. There may be, there's going to be a 60-minute. There may be a 15-minute rather.
Maybe a 90.
Other than that, you don't really need it, because it's all about the clarity. It's all about the cleanness. It's all about the flavour. If you're doing a NEPA, if you're putting anything before the whirlpool, then clearly you're intelligent, because you want that little bit of bitterness. But the reality is, it's horses for courses when it comes to your hops. You can use them however you want. But the reality is, bittering, boil, whirlpool, dry hop. Okay? Dry hop is where all of the discussion is currently. Me and Tricky had a wonderful conversation on a previous podcast where we talked about the difference between the 60-minute, the 30-minute, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, the flame out and all that kind of stuff. We've already covered all that. We don't need to cover it again. But there have been developments. There have been papers written, which just fucking makes me happy. All right, people are actually doing research on this shit, proper research, not Dave in his shed in Coventry who says something that somebody on a forum in America says. There are multiple different ways to utilize your hops in a dry hopping way. Now, you can talk about the different ways as much as you want, but the reality is those people who are scientific, who have empirical data, who are measuring these things, are saying one thing. And if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it is trust the scientists. We're quite possibly the most intelligent people in the room. And therefore, you need to make sure you understand what it is that's being said and understand why they're saying it. It's not what they're saying that's important, it's why they're saying it. Do you go with a warm dry hop? Do you go with a cold dry hop? Do you stick it at 14 degrees like many people are doing at the moment? How long's your contact time? Does the depth that the hops sink, depending upon the temperature, does that have an effect? Is your trub going to sort of cloud your dry hop? Because I've known that happen personally in beers that I've done. This is all stuff that's come out recently over the last sort of year and a half. And this has really influenced my dry hopping technique. Okay, I've tried 1 degree dry hopping. I don't like it. I won't be doing it again. I've tried 14. I've 14 degrees.
I've been going 12 recently.
Yeah.
I mean, 12, 14, you probably, you're in the
whatever
ballpark.
get the yeast out of suspension and then get those hops in without. I find if you do it at the 18 or the 19 or the 21, 22, whatever, you get hop burn quite easily. So moving to the 12 degree dry hop definitely removed all of that hop burn that I used to get.
And I think it minimises the risk of hop creep as well, doesn't it? And then you're ending up with diacetyl in the beer, especially when you're chucking in like 200 grams plus.
That's right, yeah, definitely.
There's always a danger of hop creep.
A lot of breweries are having that issue where it's broken down enzymes, and then they're packaging it, and then they end up with diacetyl. I think was it the Craft Beer Channel just did one the other day there. Johnny was talking about diacetyl in beers and was saying that, made that point. So yeah.
Oh, we've lost Chris's
I think
audio.
you're muted, or your audio's gone dead, Chris.
Audacity's crapped out on me again.
Already?
What time are you guys at on your recording?
29:36.
Yeah.
I'm at 19 minutes 52.
Oh, you
Not helpful when you
fucking
just
bitch.
did a monologue for.
I think you
5
were
or
going to use
6 minutes.
Adobe.
Well, I tried using Adobe. I couldn't work out how to get it to record. Yeah,
That's quite. That's a big chunk of talking going on there.
This is going to be another one that's only going to be on YouTube, isn't it?
Well, let's carry on. Let's forge onwards and see how we can
restart
rescue it
We
afterwards.
can always...
I've hit the record button again.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Anyway, so
now.
using hops. What are the different ways you can use hops, guys?
Yeah.
But no. Anyway, so I think like when we did the episode on hops before, we were spending a lot of time talking about, this sort of general kind of descriptors of like bittering and flavor and aroma, and then like dry hopping and where the different timings fit in, and our kind of general sort of outcome of that discussion was that it's not really something that you can put into boxes like that, because you still get aroma and flavor from bittering hops depending on what you use and how much you use and what variety is, and you still get bitterness from late addition and whirlpool hops, and even to an extent dry hopping as well. It's more like a scale that kind of tilts depending on where you are at in the boil and the the dry hop and stuff, in terms of the longer you're in the boil, the more
I find
you're
it's
getting in terms of bitterness versus
Tricky.
aroma and stuff like that, and going the other way.
Do you not find it's a different bitterness though? Like a whirlpool bitterness is totally different to a 60-minute bitterness. If you were to in the software it says, oh, that's 60 IBUs in the whirlpool, and then it's 60 IBUs actually at 60 minutes. It's a total.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think as far as whirlpooling goes, yes, but then you've also got to bear in mind that a lot of us are whirlpooling at a lower temperature, so you've got like a whole difference in terms of like the level of isomerization of the acids and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, I agree. I guess maybe if I sort of maybe narrow that more down to like the boil, when you're actually in the boil kind of thing, you're talking about just like aroma, flavor.
Because like a lot of the original breweries or traditional breweries found that when they did a first wort hop, it actually gave a kind of smoother, rounder bitterness rather than a sharp bitterness. Even though it might be the IBUs are saying it's the same, it just gives a more pleasant bitterness.
Yeah,
and the same again is I was saying there it's all about in the whirlpool.
Well, it's interesting if you think about first wort hopping as well, because that's effectively putting hops in initially at kind of whirlpool temperatures, isn't it? And then so perhaps that's something where there's a lot of people who say, oh, it doesn't make any difference, but then there's a lot of people who would still stick by that technique, and
well, a lot of breweries will back that one up.
Well, exactly, and perhaps that initial phase at the slightly lower than boiling temperature is aiding that in some way. I mean, I have no idea how to explain that in any kind of scientific way, but if it works at the back end of the process, maybe that's the same sort of effect happening at the front end of the process.
It's maybe when
I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe it's when you're designing the beer, you need to think about what kind of bitterness you want to come through, and then that's when you pick if you want a first wort hop, if you want a 60 or a 90, or if you want to actually just have it all at the end, and then it's what kind of when you're designing that beer or the beer style.
I think like whirlpooling, as Chris said, like whirlpool and dry hopping have become way more prevalent in brewing generally, both home brewing, commercial brewing, in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, and it's increasingly getting larger, right? The amounts that are being added to dry hopping and the amounts being added to whirlpool versus more OG craft brewing, which generally was much larger bittering hop and tended to be having a lot more hops added throughout the boil.
Yeah.
They arguably they add different hop characteristics, right?
Yeah. We can even go into the whirlpool where you can whirlpool at different temperatures or different points. So you could whirlpool at, say, as it's cooling down, you could go 90, 85, 80. Or what you can do is you can whirlpool over time. So say you do a 60-minute whirlpool, you could add some at the 60, some at the 30, and then some at 15 to go on the whirlpool. And they all bring different flavours as well.
Yeah, so contact time and like temperature variables.
Yeah.
So like when I whirlpool, when you guys whirlpool, do you tend to like set your PID to maintain a consistent temperature?
Yeah.
Or do you, because whenever I whirlpool, I always reduce the temperature down to like 80 or less. And then I just turn off the elements and just leave it.
Me with my kind of pretty basic analog kind of setup, it's basically turn the chiller off as close to 80 as you can and then hope for the best. But it's normally going to, actually I say that, I normally have to knock it off at about 85 and then the residual kind of, water that's left in the cooling coil is going to drop it down to about 80. And then over, say, a 20-minute or half-hour whirlpool, it will probably drop down another 5 degrees during the course of that. So it's going to be like 80 to 75 degrees-ish if I turn the chiller off at the right time. Otherwise, I'll end up having to whack the what's it called? The induction plate on for a few minutes just to bring the temp back up to 80. But,
yeah.
Because that's, I guess like from a consistency point of view, right? I'd imagine that breweries are doing that very thing and they are whirlpooling at a very consistent temperature.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing with breweries is they've got a much bigger volume and therefore the thermal mass is going to mean like once you stop either cooling or doing whatever you're doing, it's going to hold the temperature far easier than what we have to deal with. A typical 20-litre batch, like I said, if you've got a big cooling coil full of cold water in there, it's going to still keep dropping once you turn the tap off. So it's a little bit harder to
I think
ultra consistent.
And me and you don't have that issue because we're obviously the 80-litre boys, you know what I mean? So
that's it. I mean, we've got like thermodynamics on our side. So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all things that you can experiment with, right? And whirlpooling is one of those things that you've got variables to play with, and I guess in some respects, different hops will have different characteristics and how they interact with those variables as well. So you get down to like another level of detail, right?
Yeah, because I was reading was it Simcoe on in a whirlpool, it actually doesn't. The oils don't absorb, or they don't, into like a whirlpool. But then it's actually if you use Simcoe in a dry hop, then it's a lot more effective.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how much like empirical data or study has gone into that, but I think there are some qualitative observations of certain hops being better within the whirlpool in the way that they contribute certain desirable oil contributions than others. So like I think Idaho 7 was rated.
There's
brilliant
I think there is actually some research on that. Your man Mr. Yanish has done an article where he pulled together a lot of stuff, and that it was based on initially on him sort of noticing that Idaho 7 was like incredibly potent as a whirlpool hop and almost to the point where it kind of overpowered the dry hop or something like that. And then that led him to look at the research, and it said that certain hop varieties have these particular
I took a note of them,
oils or type of oils. There's lots of, I think there's a lot of different factors that play into
Centennial, Citra, Equinox, Mosaic, Columbus. They're all good for late hopping, whirlpool with high oil content.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the varieties that you would think are going to be in that list are in that list anyway, because it's all all the big sort of IPA hops and everything anyway. But it's interesting that there's a lot of, it's not just the oil content, total, or how, sticky or stinky the hop is. It's kind of to do with the balance of different compounds and oils and things that are in there that affect how it works in that particular application. And it's different to dry hopping. It's not necessarily
Correct, yeah.
hops that are going to be big, aroma wise in terms of dry hop, and not necessarily the ones that are going to be the really big contributors for the whirlpool. So yeah, it's worth looking that article up actually, because
I think it's in the book, the hops book. It was in the back, sort of near the end.
Yeah.
The start of it's all very sleepy, but once you get to the good bit at the back, then it was quite good, the research that he did.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to talk about Shellhammer's research that's fairly well cited around hop saturation in dry hopping, and I often see people quote this and saying, actually the saturation point for dry hopping is about, it was 9 grams per litre or something like that.
Okay.
But I think we can all collectively agree that our qualitative experience is that is not true.
Tell Cloudwater
And
that.
I think in reality, when you start to see what some of the commercial breweries now, like Cloudwater, always list their grams per litre, almost always on their IPAs. They are, I think, on their double IPA as standard, hitting 24 grams per litre. And I think it's important.
Hop varieties, though.
Yeah, they typically will be 2 or 3. But what's interesting is Shellhammer's research, as informative and useful as that might have been, was based on some fairly narrow ranges of variables. So, and I know exactly the reason why you just asked that question, Chris, is because Shellhammer's research was based entirely on using Cascade hops only, which in reality, Cascade may not have a particularly high alpha acid content. It's reasonably high, but not super high compared to some other varietals.
It all comes down to saturation, though, doesn't it? Saturation, solubility. That's all it comes down to.
It does.
Also comes down to the different oils that are used.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've got a fairly rudimentary understanding of saturation and a fairly rudimentary understanding of dissolution. But my personal understanding of it is, well, I say my personal understanding, my physical research and practical understanding of saturation is that, yes, whilst you may have a saturation of a specific oil, that doesn't mean that there is not still saturation potential within the liquid. So it might be that if you use 8 grams per litre of Cascade, there may still be the ability of that liquid to take in 8 grams per litre of Centennial, 8 grams per litre of Citra, 8 grams per litre of Eldorado. So the reality is, whilst it says 8 grams per litre, what it's saying is 8 grams per litre of Cascade and these specific oils and stuff associated with it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that I'm absolutely correct on this, but I'm thinking that given the fact that certain breweries are using 22 grams a litre, 28 grams a litre, I've seen as high as 34 grams a litre on a dry hop.
Wow.
Now, whether or not that was
that you, Chris?
No.
One of your IPLs.
Yeah, it's latest IPL.
I'm in the 50s, boy. For me, it's like, yes, I can appreciate that somebody's done some research on this, but as Owen said, it is incredibly narrow and it is by no means definitive. And I think further research is required in that area from a literature standpoint in order to nail down that number.
I think a lot of people have pointed out various limitations with the original research in terms of like a single variety, only that single variety being used in the beer, a sort of fairly standard 5%-ish pale ale. So you've got so many variables already just in that like 2 sentences there in terms of, like Chris was saying, different hops contributing different oils, what's the sort of saturation level between the different contributions, all the other stuff that we mentioned in terms of that sort of like, how they work in different scenarios like whirlpooling as well as dry hopping and everything else. the fact that if you've got higher alcohol beer, you're going to be able to get more
That's
oil
the
into
killer, isn't it,
solution.
Tricky? That's the definitive point, is what is the ABV of that beer? Because those oils are just going to sit as a slick on top of water. That's the very nature of an oil.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why we had so many fucking issues with Piper Alpha. Okay? That's why so many cormorants died, is because the oil sits on top and it fucks everything up. They are immiscible. Okay? So if I'm going to be sticking an oil into a beer, I need something to form an emulsion and to get it into solution. If I've got 12% ABV on my beer, I'll bet a fucking £100,000 in my left bollock that you could get way higher than 8 grams per litre.
So that raises two interesting points that you make there, Chris, around emulsions. And one is coming back to whirlpooling, right? And what chemical interaction is like. You are literally spinning the beer with those oils. So are you potentially sort of binding some of those oils to some of the proteins in the beer, and then also the other point is like biotransformation and this idea that the interaction of yeast activity somehow binds to the hop oils to create, I guess, a juicier beer. So it's quite interesting to talk about how like solubility works. But there was another point that sprung to mind when we were talking about the grams to litre point, right? Is there an upper limit where we get to the point where you cannot really add any more per litre to the point where it becomes detrimental in absorbing the liquid in the beer? So if you went like 100 grams per litre, are you gonna have to squeeze the beer out of the hops?
If you go 100 grams per litre, what's the absorption rate of a pellet hop when it comes to volume of liquid?
Chris is from Yorkshire. He's already squeezing the beer out of the hops.
Mate, every time. If it ain't green, you're doing something wrong.
It's in a bag. He's squeezing it out.
Oh, well, not out of my bag anymore. The bottom line for me is this. Absorption is an issue. Solubility is an issue. Differential oils are an issue. And I'm not saying that Shellhammer's research is completely useless. I'm just saying it's about 85% useless. Because whilst he has identified for a 5% ABV beer, 8 grams per litre is the maximum that he could measure, where at point you hit the plateau and you didn't get anything more. And that is valid scientific research. That doesn't account for 89% of Owen's beers, which are above 9%. Okay? Owen's beers being above 9% means he's probably going to get 15 grams per litre. And if that's the case, then is he getting 15 grams per litre of Cascade and 15 grams per litre of Centennial? Could some of the beers that Owen drinks mean that you could get a 60 gram per litre dry hop and get half a pint out at the end?
Or, but it's maybe not just ABV, it's about the adjuncts as well. So if he's using...
I don't think the adjuncts play that much of a part.
No, but what about the chip malt with that it can bind to that and it stays in the beer, and then that then gives something to,
protein binding should be less of an issue because proteins drop out. You're going to crash those proteins out of solution. So whilst there is still going to be some protein left, you're not going to have sufficient protein for it to have a...
There's been a thing, Chris, so measure. Things like flaked wheat and stuff like that can be hazy initially, but then it ends up dropping out. So
does that take a hop flavour with it? Protein binding, saccharide binding, lipid binding, all of these things come into it. It's not as simple as saying it's 8 grams per litre is the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, no, I totally agree. I'm just thinking, like, what's the next, Is the malt content that we're putting in, what would that have a big impact on, like retaining flavour? Because as it drops out, then does it drop out hop flavour as well? So what are the malts that you would add in that, like we were saying? So chip could be one, or
I'm sitting here, right? I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, what we need is some sort of university to actually do an experiment which is going to test properly.
Scientifically.
Because we can sit here and jaw all night and argue back and forth
totally.
and argue the tiniest fucking minutiae of detail, hoping that there's going to be the thing that's going to take everything to our side of the argument. The reality is we're all arguing the same point.
Yeah.
We're all saying this, that, and this and that, and we're all coming down to a finer point. It's like sharpening a knife on a whetstone. But the ultimate thing is there are too many fucking people and too many forums who cling to 8 grams per litre like it's some sort of defined bit. And the point is it's not, because we know it's not, because 22 grams a litre is what fucking Vocation are using. And it's what Cloudwater are using, and it's what that fucking brewery in London are using. That I can never remember the name of.
At the end of the day, you've got to like put it in that commercial perspective and go, these guys are not just going to be setting fire to like money essentially for the sake of it, to be able to put like, oh, I did so many grams per litre if it made no difference to the flavour of the beer, or on the flip side of that, if it had a negative impact on the flavour of the beer because it was just giving you the unwanted kind of, you know, green or vegetal flavors as opposed to any of the good stuff. So, you know, clearly they're doing it and it's working for them. And why would they be like pretty much plowing one of the most expensive elements of the recipe in at that quantity if it wasn't actually producing a beneficial effect at the end of it? It just makes no sense, does it? So, go and tell them 8 grams per litre and see what they think about
They're
that.
going to tell you to fuck off and kick you out of the brewery. But let's just get down to the final point of this, okay? Owen, you're pretty good with numbers. So if we say, on average, you can buy a kilo of hops for about 50 quid, okay? 1 kilo is 50 quid. And we assume that each brewery, we're just going to 4 numbers, say 2,000 litres. So we're putting 22 grams per litre, of which, based on fucking Bob on Homebrew UK, who told me 8 grams per litre is the definitive number. So you're wasting 14 grams per litre, right? So if I've got 2,000 litres and I'm wasting 14 grams per litre and I'm paying 50 quid a kilo, you tell me how much money they'd be pissing down the drain. I can hear the tapping of a calculator.
£560.
£560 per batch they're going to be pissing up the wall. So either the reason why you're paying 9 quid a can is because they're fucking listening to Shellhammer's research, finding it true, but saying, fuck it, I'm going to put it in anyway.
Yeah.
Or this is complete bollocks and there has to be a difference.
Well, it's all about the qualitative observational experience of brewing beer, isn't it? It's like we don't necessarily like the research might help us better understand which hops to use in which scenarios and how to use them. But what experience has told us, both from home brewing and commercial brewing, is that using these particular hops in this particular way gives us a result that we're looking for. And I might likely add, there's an awful lot of people drinking commercial beers that are going to go, fucking love that. You're nailing that. Well done.
The breweries are going, you know, they're posting up pictures of Citra Cryo. You know, they're all about the cryo now, because it's how can we get even more in to overcome that saturation point.
Yeah, exactly. It's commercially the sensible thing to do, because
I
don't think that's necessarily about the saturation of the oils, though. That's just about literally the saturation of the hops in terms of beer absorption, isn't it?
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I think they're all about trying to get more flavour into their beers.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think they're looking for.
I agree, but I think it's also that quantity. You are looking at a significant amount of the actual and beer getting sucked up. So
it's interesting. So the Overtone were posting, you know, that they were using Citra, but it wasn't like, oh, we're now using cryo and that's it. It was like T90 and cryo and, you know, BBC. You know, it was like a mix plus, you know, Mosaic, cryo, T90, BBC, cryo. You know, it was like how, you know, all these different methods. How can we get as much in? Because I think people have said that when you move away from T90 to cryo, you do lose something a bit. So it's maybe about blending those different types as well.
I mean, I don't know. I think if a commercial brewery is making a 2,000 litre batch at 26 grams per litre of dry hop, right, that's not accounting for the whirlpool or anything, right? That's 520 kilos of dry hop that's going in.
There's the product as well that you're going to lose with T90. So how many more cans can you sell if you switch it to cryo?
Exactly right. If cryo is 20% smaller, it has an 80% less absorption of the beer. That is like, but it's only 20% more expensive or 30% more expensive. They're actually better off using that cryo from a commercial sense. But that said, I'm not too keen. I'm personally not too keen on a beer that's entirely made with dry hopped entirely with cryo hops. I think it just lacks that little bit of depth that a classic pellet hop provides. What's your thoughts?
There's a lot to be said for the fact that sometimes you can go too far.
Yeah.
Look at Jordan. Right. She went too far.
She did.
That's all I'm saying. All right. And I realize that the vast majority of this podcast comes back to tits. But she went too far. For my tastes, she went too far. Sometimes you can have too much of a good thing. Look at my body, right? This is a body by pizza. You can go too far.
Sometimes you can go too deep. That's my wife.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's subjective.
Anyway, so what have we been talking about for
Shellhammer's research? To be
an hour and a half, or however long we've been running so far.
It's not been that long, has it?
I don't know.
Okay, let's just move on, because I think we can all agree that whilst the research was valid, it was quite limited. And to be fair, Johnny Pollock put a post up which was brilliant, which said that Shellhammer didn't say it was a limit. He said that it was not. It was at that point that he noticed diminishing returns, not that it would give further return, just that the returns began to diminish, which I agree with. There is always you can always squeeze more. Okay, in science we have things called saturated solutions. Okay, saturated solutions, which means you literally cannot get any more in. I've created saturated solutions that have taken 3 days on a stir plate at 20 degrees to achieve. Now, we're not going to give a whirlpool for 3 days because it'd be green growing. There'd be badgers, fish, dogs, fucking seagulls, kids in that whirlpool. It's not feasible for us. But the reality is, this is research that needs to be expanded upon for the brewing community to actually reach consensus of how far they can go. And I think that's where we can leave that. Okay. Yes.
Chris, can I just do an analogy? Can I do an analogy?
Go on then.
It's like a fire blade that you buy from your dealership, you know. And then when you actually take that fire blade to the British Superbikes, you get diminishing returns for the amount of seconds you can get around a racetrack.
Diminishing returns. You wouldn't get any returns, would you?
You get you're going to get seconds on a lap, but then that's the same with the brewing. The same with brewing.
I'll give you that.
Not dissimilar to mash efficiency and time, right?
Yeah.
Of mash.
Definitely, yeah. 25 minutes, you've got 70% or 65%.
And in fairness, it's nice that John actually properly read the research and called that out, because that's a very valid point. And yeah, it is simply a diminishing return.
Once you reach the plateau on the graph, that's at the point where you add no more, though, because you literally are throwing money away at that point. All it's doing is drinking your beer and costing you money, and you're getting very little for it. You
And
know?
I honestly think that there's an absorption point at which you don't want to go above that.
What
20.
the fuck are you wearing on your legs, Tricky? Tricky. Seriously, the fashion police called. They want their shorts back.
Cold.
What the fuck are they? I'm pretty sure there's a fucking law written in the Geneva Convention about them. We can't hear you. You're muted, by the way.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. Yeah. What? Well, you got an issue with camouflage shorts, have you?
Got an issue with those camouflage shorts? Yeah.
Camo shorts.
They're
Oh,
comfortable.
my Lord.
So
Hey.
I don't give a shit.
Comfort over everything. So let's talk about the next point on our notes, which is back in the day when Tricky was still in short pants, there was an IBU race in IPAs. It was how many IBUs can I get into this beer? And it got to the point where I'm fairly sure some of them were actually corroding the metal and melting the glass. Okay? Now
Then
we
I'm
have
on
the
your teeth.
grams per litre race. How many grams per litre can I cram into my beer? That is the new
What are you
metric for
doing?
Hotbox.
Jackie, what are you doing?
Are
There's
you
a- there's a
doing
slight-
squirrel?
Do you want to mute
Slight
yourself?
beer spillage here.
Are
Yeah.
you
Sorry.
strangling
Well, I was
a
muted.
squirrel?
And then I had to unmute myself in order to explain the shorts. And now you're getting upset because of the squirrel masturbation.
You're
that's happening.
blending a squirrel, Tricky.
Stop it.
Excuse me, I'm just going dark for a minute to finish this squirrel off.
I don't want to know about your perverse.
At least it's not a badger.
Fuck it. That beer.
Don't
looks
knock it
pretty
till
good.
you've tried it, Owen.
Yeah, it's like you're from the Isle of Man.
Okay. Lukey Stevens, I hope you've tuned into YouTube, mate, because I am having the Nuthatch Breweries Talus and Citra Nepa. So it's a Nepa, not a Nepa, it's a Nepa. Don't tell me anything about this beer. I'm going to drink it and I'm going to decide
New
if it's from
England Pale Ale.
Europe
I
or if
haven't.
it's from America.
I haven't drunk mine yet, so you're all good. You're all good.
Ah,
So whilst Chris cracks that, let's talk about
Cracks one off.
whilst he cracks. Oh, he managed to get the bottle open without any
oh,
wires.
Adam Phillips is taking the
Implements.
piss out of my hedgehogs. It's not just hedgehogs I have to worry about anymore, Adam. I now have a mating pair of squirrels living in a tree behind my house, and them fuckers are louder than the goddamn hedgehogs.
You sure it's
And-
not just Jackie
and-
just trying to
no,
clean his table?
Turkey's got the same problem under his
No.
desk.
Do you want to know the worst bit about it? Right, the worst bit about the squirrels is they don't fuck on the lawn; they fuck on top of the shed. Right? So I've got squirrels fucking on my shed. I've got hedgehogs fucking on my lawn. I swear to God, it's like the red light district version of fucking spring watch in my garden.
Bow, waka, wow, wow.
Oh, look at that! That looks thick.
Mate, I
Juicy.
told you, Chris,
Fucking
you
hell.
need to set up some webcams for this like hedgehog and squirrel filth that's going on and stream that because you get
I'd make
shitloads
millions.
of subscribers.
I'd
Yeah.
make millions.
Put
Is
it on
that
some
50%
only
oats, that thing?
fans.
Holy shit! Look at the.
What the fuck?
That
Look
looks
at that
thick.
colour.
Aw.
That looks
I'm
like
telling you.
yogurt.
That's fucking heavy, right? It's not quite Timmy Neeper heavy, but that is heavy.
Well, for
It does look pretty thick.
5.4%, that's pretty thick.
That's thick. Yeah.
So
There's not 8 grams per liter in this. Let me fucking tell you. Oh, mate, that smells amazing.
Jeez.
pimped. Look at that, like nice meringue white head.
That's banging.
There you go.
Oh man, that is banging.
Is the Talus coming through?
No, all I get is Citra. No, I'm joking. it's. I've got kind of weirdly enough, kind of a lemon meringue thing going on.
Sure, that's
Oh,
not the
nice,
yellow.
I mean, it might be this.
Yeah.
What flavours your vape?
That was pure lemon meringue, the Yulu. Is that
The
what you're
Yulu?
drinking now, Andy?
Yeah, I'm drinking yellow. It's lemon meringue.
Nice.
It's actually calmed down. It's beautiful now. Really, really
Yeah, mine's kicks. It was that good. It was
It's kicked.
dispatched, and yeah.
Well, I've got one of yours in the house actually. I'll need to do a test
Yeah,
to hear the difference.
Unfortunately, it might be a little bit flat based on the one that Chris had because I was having some issues with the old
Flat as fuck.
the iTap. I was trying to bottle a load of stuff up on one of those really hot days, and I think the heat was just making everything fob like a bastard. So
Oh, no way.
It was like
Yeah.
Owen's tits. Flat. I'm just gonna say you're flat chested, Owen. That's all I'm saying.
I'm all nipples and no breast.
Andy's rocking a B cup. I'm currently on a Triple H.
Owen's just got the massive fried eggs underneath that t-shirt.
Yeah.
B stings.
I think he's on more of a
Abnormally large nipples.
Can we
Good
move
see.
away from Owen's nipples? To be perfectly honest,
So-
I'm gonna start
Well, you
Yeah,
raised
well,
the point,
Chris is
Chris.
on
I'm a
the
big
Were we
fan of
talking
nipples.
about hops?
I'm a
What-
big
where-
fan of nipples.
Look,
Where are we on the
we-
actual hop discussion?
We're going to get
list?
on to new hop products or
Wait there.
alternatives.
Wait.
So,
Talk about it.
No.
Talk about it for a moment. I've got to get this music. Oh, fucking come on, Spotify. Now is not the time to install an update.
tits.
There's a lot of
Tits.
stuff on the list yet for us to going straight tits at this point, guys. I just want to throw that out.
Anyway, so new hot products, guys. Have you guys heard of Lubomax? No, sorry, Lupomax.
Yeah.
That new
Is that
that new sex product.
Oh, and is that the one? Lupo.
So this is
Okay.
a new product that I've seen advertised on Get Approved, which is effectively, I think it's kind of a homebrew version of Cryo. You guys used it?
Well, I haven't, but I think you're right. I think it's basically
Is it the oil?
their sort of a different brand of cryo hops, because it seems like the cryo hops were initially available to home brewers, and then from what I understand, the people who produced those decided they didn't want them to be broken down into smaller quantities or something, and basically stopped the sort of homebrew kind of suppliers from distributing them. I don't know if that's true or
So,
not, but
is it Yakima Valley hops do Liverpool? I'm just saying.
no, I think it's Bath Hearts.
Bathhouse.
Bath Hearts.
Oh, new from Haas Innovations. Yeah, I'm just seeing on. Yeah, Yakima Valley hops, and then like you say, Bath Haas, their technology, but it's a pellet hop. But it's got more of the, what do we call Lupo?
Lupulin. Yeah, Lupulin. Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing actually, like, because there's all these different kind of enhanced hop pellet standards, and you've got the big black cock pellets, which are supposed to be quite
BBC.
good, and then you've got your Lupamax, you've got your cryo hops. But also then there's like these T45 ones as well, which I think have been around for ages and are essentially the same kind of, they all seem to be the same kind of concept, which is basically reducing the amount of vegetal material versus the amount of, lupulin and other good stuff that's in the hops. So I'm kind
it's just
of
so bloody expensive.
Yeah, they're all expensive.
Yeah, and
And I
I'm like,
think,
nah,
like,
just get a kilo of fucking.
What
citron
about
instead.
T90?
is the difference mainly just the process that they're using to achieve basically the same end
I
result?
think
I'm
it
not
has
sure.
to be the process. I don't think it can
Yeah.
be anything else.
What
Because
about-
otherwise they're kind of all must be fairly similar, I guess, in terms of what you're actually getting. I don't know.
Well, what about T90s? So like a T90s just standard pellet. hop.
T90 stock.
Yes, T90s
Yeah,
are the
T90s
standard
what we
ones.
But
use.
T45 are better
Is
than
it though?
T90s.
Theoretically,
I've not done any research into T45, mainly because I can't fucking find any.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
But why would I bother?
Mm.
I'm
they
pretty
do
sure
have
all that
some of
shit's
them on
going
the
to
malt
breweries.
miller. They do have a few of them on the malt miller.
Yeah, and they're £47
But-
for 100 grams or something.
No, they're
like
not.
that.
But they're in just like really obscure like varieties.
Yeah, like
rather
weird
than any of the main
German,
ones.
like German varietals. And
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. It's
It
stuff
just
like
it must be who's pelletizing them. They've got the T45 machine rather than a T90.
All
So
right.
in Germany, they must have when they're taking them from the bales and all that and pelletizing. Then It just must be that there's a T45 machine in Germany, and that's how we're seeing it.
What is
We'll-
the German
we'll-
supplier
we'll
of
trust-
German hops? Who is
we'll
it?
trust the
Is it
engineer.
Barpass?
I guess so.
Sounds
So
German.
essentially, the 90 and the 45 basically refers to the yield from the raw hops through to the pellets. So your T90 pellets yield 90% weight or something from the hops of T45 would be 45%, and the loss is the vegetal material, from what I understand.
Okay.
Right, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that.
So going back to Cryo is think of more or less a brand name from Yakima. Yakima Chief, but they do quite a lot of different versions, whereas I'm pretty sure the Lupo Max they're only doing in like Citra Mosaic pretty much at the moment.
Okay. Or very, very few.
I'm very confused about this because you would have thought a bigger number would be better. Everybody thinks a bigger number is better. So why aren't
It's
T45 called T145 or T100 or something? I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
but that was literally my assumption, was that
T100.
they would be a
T1000.
less good product because they were 45 rather than 90.
I mean,
turns out
we've
they're
been led
actually-
to believe that bigger is better for years and years, haven't we? I mean,
Yeah.
nobody orders a
well,
9-inch pizza
percentage.
anymore, for fuck's sake.
Anyway, the point being,
Thought you were going to say something else there.
Power!
Not everything's about dicks, Tricky.
No, I thought it was the rubber fists you're into. But...
Oh, no. Yeah, 45 inches across. Those are the ones.
45 inches across.
Oh,
Have you
that's-
never
that's a-
tried?
That's
Get
a bit of
the Lubo-
girth.
That's
Bit
like
of
a
girth
lot of
there.
lube.
Get the Lubo Max out.
Does the
Lubo
wife
Max.
Does the wife just drive the car at your arsehole? Is that what happens?
Lubo Max, I
So
like
there's
that.
a hydraulic ram attached to that fist.
So it's like awkward for the neighbours, but Chris
4
loves
gallons
it.
of lube or quarter of an ounce of lard.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
cryo
Vaseline.
hops, and like, what's the point? What's the point of cryo hops? I'm taking it up a level, guys. Come on. Let's bring it back up.
That's
Yeah.
it. Let's get out of this quick. We're
Just
still
keep
down.
pushing forwards like that.
So it's hops with less vegetal matter,
That's what she
Um,
said.
and cryo. It suggests that it goes through some sort of process that sort of maybe freezes them to sort of.
Oh, yeah.
You would assume so, right? With the name
Yeah.
cryo,
Yeah,
that maybe they're freezing them to sort of then.
I think
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, no,
remove some
I
of the
think
liquid.
you are right. I
That's
think
the
that's
process, yeah. I've read that.
once you freeze the it helps to separate the oils or something because they solidify or whatever.
Yeah,
Perhaps. Yeah.
so almost like a sort of dry freezing process. And then what other products are we talking about? We're talking about BBC, which is just another
Yeah.
version
Black
of enhanced. I always wondered what BBC stand for. I thought it was
Somebody
Yeah.
British.
Google it, because
British
otherwise the entire
Broadcasting.
world's
No,
going
No,
to
it's
be black
company.
off.
Yeah, Brooklyn Brewing Company is the actual
Yeah.
acronym there. But
It's not about
okay.
big
I
pots.
mean, do you guys use any of those? I mean, that's kind of what we were.
I've
we were
never
It's
used
just
any of
hoping
those.
too much
about.
money. Come on.
I've been,
I've
I've
just-
put my-
money.
I'm
I've
all
put my
about
hand up.
T90s.
I've put my hand up because you guys are just kind of, talking over me whenever I speak at the minute.
Yes.
Um,
Shut up, Chris. What are we going to say?
Sorry, Dad.
that makes a change.
Fuck off, and your beard. All I've got to say is I have tried Lupo Max. All right, I bought some Lupo
Oh.
Max from Get a Brewed. I bought Citra and I want to say Amarillo, but it might have been something else. Might have been a Zaka. And I tried them, and oh shit, I've pressed something. This could be a problem. No, it's fine. Everything's recording still. The main thing that I got from it was nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't notice any difference at all. And
But you
even
just paid
after the
double.
beer had cleared, even after the beer had done its thing, all I noticed was I'd reduce the amount by the amount they say to reduce it by. Oh yeah, you can reduce it by X percentage. I didn't. It tasted less. So my personal experience, given yes, I don't really see how Lupamax is going to affect my brewing in any way, shape, or form. The cost was not worth it, and I'm used to brewing in a certain way. It's like
They
I
didn't
just
do Hallertau Mittelfrüh then.
they didn't do Hallertau Mittelfrüh in Lupamax, which was a fucking damn shame. But I went with it and I tried it and I made an IPL and I drank it and I'm like, meh. I'm not going to spend the money on this again. I'm just not going to. It didn't flick my bean.
But then I wonder if, in reality, coming back to Tricky's point earlier about why they stopped supplying cryo to the homebrewing community, is whether it is that commercial angle for breweries in terms of just reduction of T90 absorption. In reality, maybe they were just like, we're going to target the market, and actually home brewers aren't really benefiting a great deal here. So, but in reality, I think they probably, if they did, they probably misunderstood that, because clearly we're a bunch of schmucks and we'll definitely buy cryo.
So I've asked Dan about it, and he says cryo, basically the reason they're using it is because it's more flavour and less waste.
Yeah,
I didn't get that.
Yeah, but that was based on like one experience, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, like anecdotally, we're talking about situations where we've probably tried it as a one-off, and we've not done a
I'm tired
comparison
as well.
brew and anything like that. So it's difficult to sort of say,
Chris,
whether it's really yielded any benefit at all. But I mean, like for me personally, I've tried when they did have cryo hops available. Like I've tried a brew or maybe two using those. I tried some of the BBC hops. I've not tried Lupamax yet, but that as I remember it, they made perfectly decent beers, but they didn't blow me away in terms of like any noticeable difference that was significant enough for me to want to pay that extra premium for those hops versus standard pellets in a home brewing scenario. But I'm not looking at it from a commercial perspective in terms of all the other factors that come into that. So for me, I was like, they're okay. They weren't like spectacular. If I did a side by side, there might have been a marginal difference in flavour that you might say, oh, well, that's probably the brighter or the fresher or the slightly less green tasting beer. I don't know, but it wasn't for me. Like if you're trying something like that as a one-off, it's really got to like smash you in the face if you're paying twice the price for that product at home brewing scale. You know what I mean?
It might be that we're getting 200 milliliters back, basically a trial jar or something like that back from using these hops, whereas a brewery, that's an extra flipping couple of pallets worth of cans,
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean that's like best part of at the price they're charging. It's £6 a can or whatever. It's big time money, right?
Yeah, I think it might be scale. It comes down to then.
It might end up paying their duty on a beer. It might be as simple as that.
Yeah. So what about moving the conversation on? Incognito, which is a product I know that Malt Miller were plugging, right? Which is a kind of, it looked like some sort of face cream.
It looks like bird shit. Let's not cut the fucking mustard here. It literally looks like the black part of a bird shit. That's what it looks like.
It came in a weird little pot that looked like face cream.
It does look like a cosmetic spot, doesn't it?
It looks like a sort of gooey, black, dark, syrupy shit. So it's basically
I've seen the stuff with like Brewcon and they
resin.
Yeah, it's basically just extract kind of hop resin stuff. They had a beer on at Brewcon that they'd made with it, and I think that they didn't do any dry hopping or didn't add any incognito like after the boil or whirlpool or whatever. And I think their sort of selling point was, oh, taste this, it tastes like a dry hop beer. And to be fair, it did taste really good, but that's literally like my only experience of using it, because it's just not, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just not something that's really appealed to me or something I want to sort of test out. Has anyone else used them at all?
What, you want to put it in your beer, maybe?
Yeah, I've just, it seems quite expensive. I'm not that
Chris, you are allowed to
Chris,
talk. You don't
go
have
on,
to-
yeah.
Do you need a wee or?
No, I don't.
Do you want
need
to
a
be
wheel camera.
excused?
No. I used Lupamax Uconaut or Equinaut, as you rest of the world call it.
Equinaut.
And I used that in an IPL. And it just did what the hops did. It didn't do anything more.
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean-
not incognito, is it?
We're
Yeah.
talking about incognito.
The hop resin stuff, they had an Equinaut version of it. I
Oh,
used
did they?
I used to.
Oh, sorry,
Use-
you said Lupomax.
No, did I? Oh, it was the liquid hop resin stuff. The
Oh,
Okay, right. Yeah, no. Carry on then. Carry on.
and I used that in one of my IPLs, one of my Citroen Equinaut IPLs. And whilst yes, it didn't drink as much of my beer as the hops would have done, I don't really think it gave me anything more. And to be fair, would I use it again? Probably not. I mean, it was nice and all, and it was fun to use it as oh, look, I'm using something new. But really,
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like I haven't used it, but I know a guy from my brew club, Duncan, used it in a beer recently, and
Duncan.
the old Dunk, he
Scottish boy.
didn't rate it. He's not Scottish, by the way.
He's got a good Scottish name.
Oh well, that's reassuring to know. I'll let him know. Andy said he has a good Scottish
Clearly,
name.
it's Duncan of the Clan MacLeod.
And he said he used Sabro Incognito, which you would think, being such a powerful hop that Sabro is, that would be punching well above its weight. And he was like, didn't really get anything from it, which is pretty disappointing when you've probably paid like £9 for a little.
Well, yeah, and when it's
hop.
supposed to be the essence of the hop in its purest form, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so I think collectively we are maybe writing that product off.
well, it's not. I mean, like, I don't want to like slate it
We've not
because
done it yet.
I've literally never used it, but
yeah.
it just doesn't seem to have. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these things don't really seem to have gained any kind of traction, like in the home brew scene. I mean, I just don't see anybody talking about using incognito in a sort of homebrew setting, or well, actually saying that in a commercial setting either. I mean, are there any breweries that you've seen that are talking about using it?
I think I might have seen like one company lobbing a massive bucket of it into their beer, but
Yeah,
I don't. It's not revolutionised beer. But
I don't know if you're seeing.
I'd suggest we maybe just stop talking about it.
Yeah,
I
because it's not applicable anymore. I think we've decided
there's
it's
an
not
idea.
applicable to homebrewing.
Sorry, Andy. I was
No,
talking
you're
over
right.
you then. Going back to, type. I just think it's one of them things where the theory is wonderful, right? But the reality is it probably didn't hit the spot. All right. I think it's just one of those things whereby it was a great idea, and whilst not poorly implemented, I think it was probably something where it just didn't do what it was meant to do at the level that it was meant to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It sort of does a bit of the job, but it's not like, I think they over marketed it, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
It was like the Toyota Corolla hybrid. It was supposed to be the next fucking best thing, and then Tesla turned up and they got pissed on. It's one of them things. You can't.
yeah, but Toyota will probably sell it for like a third.
And they'll
of the
probably sell a
price.
million of them, a day.
Yeah,
to be
they
perfectly
will,
honest. But it's like, was it really better than T90? The reality is probably not.
no, maybe not. Maybe not. So the only other product we've got to talk about, because I think we bottomed that out.
Hop
Didn't we?
oils.
Yeah, hop oils. So I've used these before, which are from the Malt Miller, little bottles of kind of liquid hop oil, which they recommend to not use too much, and they recommend to use when you keg the beer, just to really add more of an aroma factor. And they were all right. They're all right. They did what they said they would.
Were they like vape oils?
No, it's way more liquid than that. Like a much.
I mean,
lower
could you vape 'em?
viscosity. I haven't tried yet, Chris.
I'm gonna have to get some and try.
Again, it's something that I'm kind of reluctant to sort of pass any judgment on because I've not actually bought them or tried them or have any practical experience. But I do know that Timmy at one point was experimenting with them, and as far as sort of, you know, my reference point for using, you know, hops in big hoppy beers, and so probably the only homebrewer I know who might have noticed an actual decent return in terms of efficiency on most of his beers for using oils rather than hops. He's tried them out on a couple of brews, and as far as I know, he's not bothered since.
No.
So
On the subject of Timmy, like,
again, anecdotally, that's all I've got to say on it.
qualitative observation. On the subject of Timmy, like, you guys surely have won raffles where he's then sent you that weird box of like bottles
Yes,
of
I know exactly what you're
stuff.
talking about. I've still got it in the fridge
Yeah.
untouched.
So have I. I think I might even have 2 of them. Have you guys ever used any of those?
No, literally not. I mean, I've thought about it a few times, but it's just like,
Got no idea what those are about.
yeah,
What
don't
is
know
that?
what to do with it really.
They're just like weird little bottles of liquid that, like, one of them would be like, add more bitterness, and like another one would be like,
I mean, I think that they
accentuate
are
coppery.
some sort of flavor oil type.
I think that's
products,
the same
aren't they?
thing,
But-
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only ones I used was to like
Just the extracts?
like a lactic acid. So it was just literally 2 little bottles of lactic acid that I added to a beer to make it more sour, and that was it. Anyway,
Cool.
interesting point. So
I think this is what you were driving for, wasn't it?
break!
Commercial break, lads.
That's not what it says in the notes. Say what it says in the notes, Tricky.
Commercial break, motherfuckers.
Right, I need to find a commercial beer. I need to find.
I've got
Mine,
mine.
yeah,
as well.
You haven't
beer.
handpicked it.
Mine's
I
already in the
fucking have.
glass.
I have
Oh,
picked
mate.
my commercial. Just give me a
Oh,
moment,
shall I-
boys. I need to get it.
Don't
Shall I go first? Because I've got mine.
Don't
Yeah.
expect any sense out of me.
Right,
for
so
the
I'm
next
going for
hour.
Hitting the desk.
Something
Oh,
a little
he's
bit.
got a tipper.
I'm going for something a little bit out of my wheelhouse today because it's a Goes by Brew by Numbers. It's their Solero, which is, you can guess by the name, is supposed to emulate the flavour of a Solero ice lolly. Not quite sure where the salty element comes in there for a Solero
It
because
might look a little bit like Chris tonight.
I'm keeping that
So-
one under lock and key because I don't want any of you fuckers.
There
seeing
we
it
have
while I
it.
Pop it.
Oh wow,
Just-
that's a
this looks
beautiful
like
colour.
orange juice.
That's a
Definitely
beautiful
doesn't smell like a Solero lolly. Sour kind of orange juice. Yeah, I'd just say a sort of a very, very tart smelling kind of orange juice thing going on there.
Who's the brewery?
It's Brew by Numbers.
All right, okay, baby.
Yeah. So they say this ice cream inspired triple fruited Goes delivers the ultimate balance in sweetness, salinity, and juicy fruit flavors. The resulting beer is liquid expression of exotic fruit. I'm bored already.
Look at that salty thing.
It's very light kind of saltiness, but it is definitely there.
Did you know something? I've just realised I've made a massive fucking error. I don't have a bottle opener in the shed anymore.
Get your teeth out.
Mate, no.
So I wouldn't say it tastes like a Solero lolly, but it's definitely got some of that kind of juicy, kind of tropical fruit thing going along, but obviously with the sourness and a very slight salty note on the end.
Fuck.
I'm not a massive Goes fan, but it's all right. I wouldn't buy another one, but yeah, it's okay.
I apologise for the sound, guys. I'm trying to put my keys somewhere where my headphone cable's not going to rag on them.
Yeah, I think Brett's just said that he had it last night. Okay, but not a wow beer.
Here's a question: did you guys
I'd agree
get
with
some
that.
sort of deal on brew by numbers?
There was
Yeah, we
a
did.
like 33% discount code,
Yeah.
like a flash sale that they did. Yeah,
There's
I
been
think
a few cans knocking about in the chat.
I think Tricky and I both bought like the mixed case, and it was like there's an IPA, a double dry hopped IPA, and an organic lager. So I'm not really sure what justifies an organic lager.
yeah. I don't know what
actually
makes
no
it
fish
organic.
guts.
And it was actually really good. It
To
was
be
made-
fair, I really like that beer. That might be my favourite one out of the 3 in the box. To be honest.
Yeah, I think what does upset me though is it says it's hopped with Tettnanger. Is that a hop we're familiar with?
Tettnang.
Yeah, that's a German hop. Yeah.
I thought it was
Tettnang's noble.
I thought it was Tettnang, not
How dare you.
Tettnanger.
Same thing.
Yeah, fine.
I'm not sure actually. To be fair,
Tettnanger.
And Sapphire? Have you guys ever heard of Sapphire?
Sapphire.
Or Sapphire?
yeah. No, Safi is actually really good. I've used that a few times, but it seems to have disappeared from all of the home brew shops in the UK. You can't seem to buy it anywhere anymore. But no, Safi is actually a really nice, slightly more fruity kind of noble hop that just works really well in pilsners and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, and if you get a Pilsner,
So what?
if you get a Pilsner tonight,
No.
That's an imbi.
What?
Sure.
What? Pilsner?
That's black,
No.
black as a witch's cat.
You don't get Super Pils.
No. Not tonight. I'm not on the
Not
super
tonight.
pills tonight.
Well,
Anyway.
I am.
Are you going, Andy? Am I going?
Yeah, I'll go. I've got an unfiltered lager, and it's a brewery called Black Iris. Have any of you heard of that?
Yeah.
Get really, really cool cans.
Oh, that's a Nottingham brewery, isn't it?
Nottingham, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I've had a few of
Lost,
them
Listen
beers.
to that.
Lost in the Cold Sun. It's Chris got. He's...
Oh, you fucking wait and see what I've got, son.
So the clarity in mine's pretty damn clear. I did check it out online. I had a wee look at the brewery. They didn't have much about them. I don't know if anyone else knows about them, but it's a lot.
Literally only that they're from Nottingham. That's about
Yeah, and
it.
a lot of cool artwork, but they're about the brewery. Just who's on the team, and that's about it.
I think they must be a fairly small scale outfit, to be honest, because they're
Right.
not,
Okay.
yeah.
But this is Saz. Basically, it's Saz lager, and I have brewed a couple of Saz lagers, and I must say this is bloody good. So it's not overpowering on the kind of peppery sort of bitterness. It's like really, really nice, kind of balanced, and it's got that lovely Saz notes. It's nothing's too overpowering it. I think the word for this is balanced. It's with a good sort of, I don't know, it's got good flavour, if you know what I mean. It's overall it's just really, really nice. Just kind of rolls over the tongue, and it's really, really crisp, and yeah, I could see myself drinking this very, very quickly, quite easily. Yeah. If I brewed this, I'd be very, very happy, I think. Which is probably the next thing I will be brewing, is a Saz Pilsner. Now, here's the thing. If any of you guys used Mandarina Bavaria with Saz, and do you think that would work? Chris, you're on mute.
I wouldn't see why not.
Yes and yes.
Yes
It
and
works.
yes.
It works remarkably well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like
An orange. An orange.
orange
hint.
spice, just a
Yeah.
nice little bit of fruitiness on it. I mean, Saz on its own is beautiful. No, let's just not be about there. But yeah, I thought we'd try some Mandarina because I've got it. I've got about 100 grams, so I think that would work quite well. So yeah, okay, that's me.
Nice. I'm going to go up next then. So I've got a beer from Allagash.
Oh,
Another
what?
beer. Another beer from Allagash. So
North
this is
Sky.
This is a Maine, US brewery.
Belgian
This is,
style brewery, aren't they?
they are. So this is actually a Belgian stout,
Nice.
and this is the reason I actually bought the beer, because Belgian stout was a style that kind of piqued my interest a little while ago. Never tried a Belgian stout. It is a pretty niche style of beer, let's face it. But essentially a stout brewed out with fermented out with a Belgian yeast. And it says here, North Sky, the beer is called, like a clear night lit by stars. This silky Belgian-inspired stout balances light notes of fruit and sweetness with roasty malt. Inspired by late evenings spent around a crackling campfire, North Sky is brewed to merge lightness and darkness into a super sippable stout. There was a lot of iteration going on there. But it
What
is,
ABV? What's ABV? Come on,
the
Owen.
ABV 7.5%. So it's
a light beer then.
Yeah.
Owen's
It's a
drinking a
Session
table
stout for
beer.
Owen.
Yeah, I mean
Fucking hell, Owen.
that's what I drink in my cornflakes, to be honest. But
A TV beer. TV beer.
chocolate milkshake, really. For
the
Owen.
aroma is absolutely gorgeous. It's just like a really nice light breadiness with a nice under hint of like a roast to it. Really, really pleasant. Beautiful, fluffy head.
I bet it's better than the Belgian stout with cardamom that I tried a while back.
And to be fair, I'm not really picking up much in the way of a Belgian influence here.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting a bigger Belgian presence to the beer. And hence
Quite
the reason-
easily get lost in the malts with it, Owen.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think in reality, I think you've got to be pretty careful with this style of beer not to match it to a. And
Depends what sort of
ferment it.
Belgian yeast, aren't you? Because
Exactly right.
You know,
There's a
you can
risk
have
that
some
if
that
you-
are super spicy or phenolic that might just
Yeah.
taste
Apple.
weird.
It would,
Yeah,
and if
sure.
you
Yeah.
got loads of bubble gum and banana and
Banana,
stuff in there,
yeah.
that would also be really weird.
Oh no, but chocolate banana.
Yeah, maybe if you went big banana.
Yeah.
Big banana. Where is Big Banana? He's not
I
here
bet it's
tonight.
Big B.
Stevie, where are you? Get on the chat.
Steve-o! Get on the chat. But yeah, Luke asks, where's the music? Where's
It's
the
not
music?
that kind of review.
Yeah. Chris isn't feeling it.
I've not got a hard on, so clearly he's not trying hard enough.
He just needs some kind of like Belgian lounge jazz for this one, doesn't he?
Some sort of lounge jazz.
So I'm not really picking up any real Belgian vibes other than it just being a really rock solid stout that definitely underpunches its ABV because it's slipping down way too easy. Hold on. Where's my prose? I'll get my poem book out. A man sits on a dock. He pours a North Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really, really nice, like almost borderline kind of Irish dry stout simplicity. It just has like a nice, really bready backbone to the beer. Really fluffy. Has a really strong, like, not super strong, but a strong, like, roasty undertone. It's not super chocolatey. It's just got that kind of roasty
Coffee.
gruff to it. And it doesn't taste like a 7.5% beer by any means. And it's solid brewing, but probably it's a little bit disappointing in the sense that it's not as Belgian as I kind of hoped it would be. I was kind of hoping for a bit more oomph to a Belgian stout, but maybe
Yeah.
I just misinterpreted the style, and in reality, maybe you don't want to mix Belgian phenolics and esters with a stout.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a bad idea.
Maybe the roast and the the darker malts are kind of just camouflaging that Belgianness from the yeast a little
Yeah.
bit, because you would have thought that sweetness would kind of counteract the phenolics and give you a kind of almost, for want of a better term, a kind of Pernod flavor. That's what I would expect from it. In my head, that's what it says.
Well, like an aniseed.
Yeah, kind of a Pernod-y, aniseedy kind of almost chocolate kind of licorice flavor. That's what I would expect. That's my bastardized palate. That's what I would say.
I think it's interesting. I think it's just adding more depth to the stout, and I think that's a positive, right? It's not standing out.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Owen?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that for a dark beer. I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's a good score. That's a good score.
It is. I think Allagash are on point as a brewery. They're making some solid beers. If you get a chance, get onto them.
Oh, I definitely will. Andy, come on, give us a score out of 10 for yours.
For a Pilsner, it's pretty much 9.5 out of 10. It is fucking amazing.
Hell. That sounds bang-a-doodle.
Yeah,
Tricky for your triple fruited salted goes with added jizz.
6.
Okay.
That's been generous out of 10.
Well, I've actually got the perfect song to tee up my amazing beer that I'm about to give to you guys, okay? Are you ready for this?
Where's the Mr.
Amazing beer.
For those of you who are unaware, that was Negative Approach by Napalm Death. Okay? All props to Napalm Death, because that's an amazing song, and it's one of those songs that I listen to when I'm angry at my dad because he's done something stupid. Now, this beer, yes, it is a brew by numbers beer. However, I wasn't a complete Luddite, and I didn't go for the pre-packaged bullshit that those two went to. I chose my beers. Now, this is a farmhouse ale with blackberry and blackcurrant.
Well, get you with the sneaky.
Yeah, you're fucking damn right sneaky shit. This,
like, premium bottle shit.
I'm not being funny. I fucking ordered another 5 bottles of this after tasting the first one, because I ordered 2.
You really surprise me sometimes, Chris.
This is not the beer that I would have expected.
You're a contradiction at times.
Order, let alone
looking for.
Reorder.
It's an enigma.
This is not the beers you are looking for.
His entire beer review thing is just a Jedi mind trick. That is actually him. He's actually secretly a farmhouse and sour beer.
Like 20 episodes ago. He's like, don't even give me sours. Sours are disgusting.
Right.
Now he's like,
what is this goatee tasting fucking funky shit getting out of my mouth?
Guys, carry on. Put your fucking ball gags back in and shut the fuck up for 30 seconds, will you? This is epic. Okay? This is a beer that will both surprise you and it will stamp on your bollocks at the same time. Right? It's kind of like my ex-girlfriend. This beer is awesome. It is funky. It is fruity. It is so well carbonated. It is untrue. This beer took me almost a minute to pour, so I didn't end up with 43 inches of head. 43 inches of head is never a bad thing, no matter what you say. This is a beauty. It is clean and crisp. It has a sour funk to it. It has that kind of
Brett.
Goat coat flavor.
Horse.
It's
horse
almost
horse blankets.
I say almost, but it doesn't quite. It's got kind of a
Pepper.
Not pepper at all. It's kind of
Farmer's arsehole.
Vinegar? Just a
Okay.
hint of acetic.
Acetic
But
acid.
this-
Ethanol.
Oh my
Balsamic.
good God, I could do damage to a kettle. Well, I couldn't because it's 7.5%. But this beer is awesome. I never thought I would like it. I ordered 2 mainly because you've got to try everything twice. It's a bit like anal. Got to try everything twice. And this
I need to
beer,
tell the missus that one.
it's just fantastic. I
Yeah.
am totally besotted with this beer. It's got a clarity of flavour. It's not muddled in any way, shape, or form.
That's because Chris had to try it as a giver and a receiver, by the way. Not.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Well, yeah, we'll ask the wife to start.
Rubber fist.
This
She'll
beer,
lube the bonnet. Text her now.
this beer it's just amazing.
That.
All right, mate. One finger. What are you on about? This is just fantastic. If you haven't got this, Brew by Numbers have got this. It's expensive. It ain't cheap, right? Buy some.
Yeah, the 33% discount is gone now.
Give it a
Ah.
try because this beer is amazing. It has such a complexity. It's kind of like a really good Irish whiskey. None of that Scotch shit. It's like a really good Irish whiskey.
Oh,
And
dear.
it's just, I'm only saying that to wind Andy up. It's
Yeah.
just beautiful. And the fruit comes through. You get a sourness, you get an almost vinegar twang. And then you just get layer after layer after layer of complexity. This
Chris,
is
you've
a
changed.
solid 9.5 out of 10.
Ah,
That's what this is.
What fruit is it, Chris?
Blackcurrant and blackberry.
Yeah, nice.
It is.
Mate, I
fucking
think you've
orga-
just went through a black hole.
The only thing that's
Yeah.
stopping me from sticking my dick in this is because I want to drink it.
I mean, in fairness, I'm at a stage in my beer journey
Oh, mate.
You're
to
on that.
begin getting into a bit more of the kind of wild
breath.
fermentation, kind of spontaneous fermentation beers like
Mm.
gooses and lambics and beers that are like ultra complex.
Yeah.
It's
Barrel
beautiful.
aged. Like I cannot get enough of fucking barrel aged beers right now.
Is that right?
Owen, order some of that.
I think I probably ought to. If
Go
I
on to
hadn't-
BB
if
now.
I hadn't spent as much money as I have so far this month on beer.
Come on, with your hairdos costing you 85 quid a pop, you can skip a hairdo for a month and buy some of that beer.
This
Oh, no, it's boilers.
This
It's his boilers.
was £12.50.
Yeah.
It's the 3
Yeah.
grand boilers.
Do you know how much
Can't-
mine cost me? Nothing.
That's because you dank drony.
Well,
Because he's
that
cuts
as
it
well.
himself.
Damn right.
Uh,
I don't even use a mirror. That's why I've got a mohawk
It's like-
at the back.
He's like,
Well,
Yeah,
you
Chris-
don't take a
Chris
bald
is
baby
a
to the
grade
hairdresser,
zero.
do you?
It's beautiful, guys. Seriously, give this beer a shot because it's absolutely stunning.
Chris, what's the
It's-
name?
It is. It's called Farmhouse Ale Blackberry and Blackcurrant by Brew by Numbers. It's 7% vol. It's a 375ml, and it's just the actual gumph on the back says a mixed fermentation pale ale to celebrate the vibrancy of seasonal British hedgerow fruits. Starting with a complex farmhouse
Well
Pale
carbonated.
before it's well carbonated, before racking the beer onto fresh blackcurrants and blackberries over the summer months. The result is a satisfyingly complex and refreshing beer enjoyed on its own or with fine food. This beer went so well with pork ribs, it was untrue.
They
It
didn't
is.
mention the brewer teabagging it for the wild yeast then.
I don't care if he's teabagged it. If he has, I mean, admittedly, I don't want to suck on his bollocks, but Jesus, the boy's done well.
sorry, I thought Tricky was referring to maybe a new slanting technique that you. might have
Well,
been adopting.
wild yeast can occur in all sorts of locations.
We've
You
got.
really need to get that
Teabag
beer.
your favourite beer.
Does that not give you an
Slant-
idea for
slant the
using?
drippings?
So we've got. What's all
Well,
the
they've done
natural fruits
vagina
we've got
beer,
at the
so
minute?
can't they do scrote beer as well? Like,
We don't get
there's gotta be-
brambles and all that sort
gotta
of
be a
thing out
market
at the
for it
minute.
somewhere.
It's fucking banging. I swear to God, this beer is banging.
Yeah.
It's
Go on,
£7 a bottle. In fact, I'll tell you how good it is. I'm actually going to stick a link in the Facebook chat. I don't care that I'm not getting paid for it. Guys, buy that fucking beer. It's amazing.
Okay.
No, good.
I think
good-
it's
good comment.
burp in the chat.
What rating are you giving it? 9.5.
Oh, you give it an
out of
8.5.
10?
I'd give it a solid 9.5. It's a beautiful, beautiful beer.
Chris's ratings basically vary between 9 and 9.5 for pretty much all the beers. So
I don't
No,
know. I
it
did give
doesn't.
one of yours a 3, Tricky, didn't I?
you gave a fucking like commercial lager from some macro German brewery a 9.3
Well,
or something.
That's because they
Wow.
brew
It was
to the
very,
German
very
purity
good.
law. Reinheitsgebot.
Only
Reinheitsgebot.
because
Yeah,
I
I-
can say it properly, Andy.
Reinheitsgebot.
I
Reinheitsgebot.
remember Harry ripping you for that one though. He was like, "Yeah, you have Foster's next week. Give it a 9."
Foster scores a solid 9.8. Thank you.
Right.
It's a
Old
beautiful
faithful,
beer.
dependable.
Commercial breakdown.
I'm good. I'm fucking really glad I've got fucking 5 more bottles in the house. That's amazing.
Let's get
Yeah,
back to
sounds
let's
up.
get back to hops. Let's talk briefly about OG original gangster hops.
OG.
If you go any
Would you
further
taste
than
these?
Saz, Spalt, Mittelfru, and Tetnang, you're doing it wrong.
You're such a noble.
Well, if you
Yeah,
want to brew
but-
lagers, then yeah, great.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let's
If you're brewing in
widen the
the
appeal a
1900s,
little bit
then
more.
aye, cool.
Just in reply to
OG
Adam
to
Phillips
us
in the
is
chat.
American.
Hang on, just a sec. To reply to Adam in the chat, Adam Phillips. It sounds like a new listener. He's probably been listening for a while, but I just want to reply directly to him. It is a special occasion beer. What more of a special occasion could you require than episode 32 of the Hop Edition when we haven't talked bullshit for 3 hours for about a month and a half?
Yeah,
Seriously.
true.
It's
Yeah.
not been that long. Come on,
This
it's been about
is a
3
special
weeks.
occasion. I've got Owen, the man who could make any woman come simply by reviewing a dipper. I've got Andy, the man who literally has got a beard that knows no ends. It's halfway down his neck, for God's sake. Tricky, a man who has a landing pad. He doesn't have one runway, he has 2 straight across his forehead. And they both.
Stop talking about my hair, you giant bald baby. Just fuck
These-
off.
These sexy men that I do this podcast with.
Go and grow your peardo beard back. You fucking.
I
It's
will
fair.
not do that. I had a shave just for this podcast.
I think Chris's
It's been
endeavour
nice.
was
It's been nice
supposed to
to
be
be back.
complimentary, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
I love
Wednesday.
you
I
all.
really enjoyed Wednesday. We have a pre-chat about the edit, what we're going to talk about, and
Tricky
I
didn't turn
really
up.
it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I did. I turned up for the after party. What are you talking about?
After we'd planned it all.
It was perfect timing as far as I was concerned.
Fuck it, done. Tick, let's go.
I added like 2 words to the notes.
Did you?
Yeah,
Where?
don't know. Can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. I'm
Was it
struggling
hot
to see
oils?
this, Tricky.
Did you write?
No.
hot
The
oils?
IBU race versus grams per litre. That was my contribution.
Oh, well
Well,
done.
that's way more than 2
Thank
words.
you.
No wonder you're
Yeah.
a music teacher.
Hey, it's all about the finishing touches.
It's
So-
Polish.
reckon, isn't it?
So
Should we
Polish.
get back into this pod?
Chris, Noble hops.
Oh,
Talk
yeah.
to us about noble hops.
Oh,
They're
gee.
amazing. Everybody needs at least 1 kilo of each.
Yes, that's amazing.
But no good if you're not making noble beers, I guess.
But the thing about the noble hops, coming back to some sort of seriousness here, right? The noble hops are what most of the hops were developed from.
Yeah.
Through selective breeding, through crossbreeding, cross-pollination, differential soils, differential water, differential environmental factors. From noble hops, we've got, I mean, literally, can you imagine a bigger difference than between Saz and Galaxy? Is there a bigger difference in the hop world?
No,
Chinook.
I think that's
and
pretty
Galaxy.
bad choice because I think Galaxy's quite peppery. It can be quite peppery, and so is Saz in a sense.
So where's Saz's fruity flavour?
Well, I think.
Oh no,
perhaps
Saz
that
does have fruit.
Was
Like it
that
does.
a rhetorical comment there, Chris?
It was
In
very
fairness,
much, but
yeah.
Andy decided to jump on that boat anyway.
Yeah,
It's one of
Saz
those
is quite-
things. You've got your peppery nobles,
Fruity
you've got your florals, you've got your kind of your deep, rich kind of amazingly almost basic bitch hops in your nobles. The ones that do the lagers pretty well. They're not really intrusive. They just give a bit of flavor. They do their thing. And then you've got Simcoe, cat piss on a fucking branch. You've got Cascade, which is grapefruit on a stick. You've got Columbus, which is basically just marijuana. All right, let's call it what it is. Right, Columbus is basically ganja.
It is the dankest of the dank hops by a margin.
It's the ganja that we all put into the bitter shit.
Strata.
Well, yeah, maybe, but it's
the dankest hop I know is Sultana Denali. That is like fucking, it's insane.
J Folks giving me shit in chat. It says if I could pick one hop to brew with for the rest of my life, it'd be Magnum.
Fuck
wouldn't.
Nice clean lager hop. There. Good choice.
Middle through, it'd be middle through.
Hold on. Good question, J Fork. Well raised. If we had to choose one hop and one hop only,
Saz,
middle through.
What for forever for all beers?
Forever.
You are only allowed one hop for the rest of your life, Tricky.
Well, the thing is that's a really difficult question because it's like, you might go, I want to pick a really nice, big, juicy, fruity hop, but then you would basically not be able to brew most other styles with it.
We know the complexities of the challenge here.
I know, but then I'm trying to run this. You go first, though.
Citra, done.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'd go.
He's stroking his beard. He's basically
wanking. It's a really difficult question.
It's not a difficult question.
No, it is because I'm thinking. I'm trying to weigh up what hop I can actually cross-pollinate across all the different styles that's actually going to work.
I'm going for a piss while you think about it.
Fucking hell. He's thinking how he can say Harlequin.
You're overthinking it. It's like first thing that comes to your mind, Tricky.
What's your favourite hop, Tricky? Would you use all the time?
Then.
Okay. All right, great.
No, that's just cheating, really, isn't it? No, I'd probably have to. I'm literally stumped.
What would you go to if you had to go buy 5 kilos of today? And that.
Well, no, the thing that I would use most is it would either be Citra or Mosaic, but I'm just but then am I going to make a lager with those hops or
you could,
a wheat beer or do you know what I mean? You could, I suppose you could. I'm probably overthinking it, to be honest. But I might actually go back to a slightly more old school US hop if I was going to go for something that was going to be a universal hop to use as that's what I'm thinking. I'm leaning more towards a Centennial or a Cascade as a sort of universal hop that you can maybe apply to other beers as well.
Choose one, Tricky.
Cascade then. I'll go Cascade. I'm gonna go old school. Gonna go Cascade.
Cascade, let's face it, is the bitch's choice. It is.
Yeah.
It's I couldn't be asked to think about the question anymore. That's what Citra is.
No, I thought the question over a lot, actually. Get the fuck.
Tricky, we took all of maybe 20 seconds for the three of us to answer. Tricky's still thinking about it.
I'm still not convinced that's the right. I'm going to come back to you with my final decision.
How does it go on
in about an hour?
One eternity later.
Yeah. A moment later.
It's one of those things. What I did when I thought about and I'll explain my thinking because I always like to show my working because I'm a scientist. I thought, what beer could I drink forever?
Yeah.
Marzen. What do I put in my Marzen? Middle fruit. Let's go. There you go. Yeah. Done. Tick box. Done.
Pilsner.
You can put middle fruit in a Pilsner.
SARS is a good shout, to be fair. Yeah, you can make you can make pale ale with SARS. You can make a lager with SARS. You can make an IPA with SARS.
You can.
You got all the bases covered there. To be
And
fair, do a
don't-
wheat beer with SARS.
I don't want
Yeah.
to disrespect anything that anybody said because it's an individual choice, okay? We're talking about personal preference here. But the bottom line is, I chose a Noble, Andy chose a Noble, Tricky's coming around to a Noble, Owen, Mr. fucking Dipper, went Citra.
Citra.
Fuck you all.
I don't. Citra would be my second choice. To be fair,
Mate, to
Definite.
be fair, like
I
that's
think
why
my
I like,
second
that's
choice would
why
be
I
a
like
Zaka.
drinking. That's why I like drinking.
A Zaka,
Yeah.
really?
My
I
second
don't know
choice.
about
You try a Zaka on its own in an IPL. It's fucking stunning.
that. Mm.
That's
Yeah.
one. That's
Pineapple.
1+ for a Zaka then.
You can shove your Citra up your ass.
So, guys-
Citra's such a great base. hop.
OG hops, US hops. Like we're talking
Citra.
talking Citra, Mosaics, all the C hops.
Yeah,
Like,
Cascade.
if we go super OG, Cascade is like right there in the mix, isn't it?
Yeah,
And then you've got the likes of Columbia.
Cascade is like
know-
one of the first sort of
Super
the
hops.
what you would call the modern hop varieties that was established, really,
That's
wasn't
right.
it? Like that's
yeah. It was the ones
that's
it was
your
rejected.
Sierra Nevada sort of thing that people.
Cascade
People
was
originally
good.
went, oh, it tastes too strong, and then it got picked up by those breweries that went, actually,
Smaller breweries in America.
tastes
yeah.
great.
The big breweries got Cascade first, and they went, "Nah, that's just got too much flavour going on." Rejected it, and that's when, obviously,
Okay,
Sierra
I'll be
Nevada
honest.
picked up.
I'm actually really liking this discussion. So you can choose one American hop for the rest of your life. What's it going to be?
Citra,
Citra.
fucking
Mosaic.
easy.
If I had to choose an American hop, it would probably be Amarillo.
No, Simcoe.
If you had to choose a Noble, which one would it be?
SARS.
SARS.
SARS, yeah.
Middlefruit. If it had to be a British hop, which one would you choose?
Fuggles.
Harlequin.
Seriously, Tricky, which one would you choose?
Challenger.
You see, I would go
Challenger?
straight in for first gold.
Brambling Cross for me.
Ugh. Fucking hell,
No,
guys.
Challenger is like a quality all round. Can do all sorts of different beer styles. Hop for me. That's
Fuggles is your classic.
The fucking
earthiness.
chat on Facebook is going mental at the moment. So we've got Mosaic, Fuggles, Hallertau. What Hallertau? Which Hallertau? Are we just going for Hallertauer? We've got fucking Azaka. Luke Stevens is backing me up, by the way. Azaka's a lovely hop. Thank you. Cheers, Luke. I love you, man.
there's also other people in the chat saying it's pish.
But this is the thing, right? This is the wonderful part of hops. This is what I really hoped we would get onto before we hit the amazing hop combos, which we're going to come on to next. This is the whole point of hops. Nobody is going to turn around to you and say, I like my chicken deep fried every time. Because you don't.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to turn around and say, the only thing I will eat is buffalo chicken wings. Because you fucking don't. If I turn around to you and says, I'm going to sort you out with some of my bacon-wrapped, stuffed chicken breasts with goat cheese, spinach, and fucking garlic, I guarantee you're going to throw those chicken wings in the bin and you're going to eat my chicken breast because it's stuffed and it's wrapped with fucking bacon. This is what it comes down to, okay? Everybody has a pull towards a certain hop. It flicks your bean. It hits your palate. It's the most wonderful thing you've ever tasted. And it was in a beer that means something to you because you either drank it at a certain time or you really fucking enjoyed it. Or like half the beers, this fucking beer, 2 years ago, would you honestly think I'd be sitting here drinking a farmhouse beer?
No way. No way.
Exactly. This is what this podcast has done for me. It's broadened my horizons. Talking to Andy. Yes, I love you, Andy. You're an amazing human being. I appreciate the fuck out of you. You spend far too much in your brewery. But Owen has turned me on to certain hops. He's turned me on to certain yeast. He said, right, you need to try this and this and this. And I've tried this hop combo. It was fucking amazing. Tricky's done the same thing. I've got other friends who've done the same. Santi, who's sitting in the chat, if I was to give Santi a 5 kilo bag of Citra, he'd be happy for 2 months. He would, because that's all he needs to make him happy on his beer level.
He's
All
very
right?
simple.
He's a very simple man. But this is the basic gist of hops. They have a function. They have something that they do. Yes, there's questions about their use, but the bottom line is it makes fucking beer. We all drink them. We all love them. If I was to turn, I mean, Owen, realistically speaking, Fuggles and First Gold in Persistently Bitter, does it work?
Yeah.
Do you think that any other hop combo would work as well?
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. And that's the precise point about hops. Depending on the base that you're building from, you're going to end up with a different flavor profile. And all of these things come into it. But one specific combo flicks your bean because your palate is not my palate, is not Harmon Brewing's palate, it's not Santi's palate, it's not Gary Hughes's palate, it's not J Fork's palate, it's not
That's the
Tricky's
beauty
palate.
of being a home brewer.
And this is the fucking beauty about being a home brewer and being able to utilize those hops.
I'm a fucking home brewer.
This is what it comes down to.
Yeah, babies.
We all have these breweries that we fucking wank about. Andy's got a thing about Overtone. Owen clearly is wearing a Siren t-shirt, for fuck's sake. Tricky with his brew by numbers and his other fucking breweries and his beer fly, and they've got a B80 and they're pumping out beers.
Brew by Number's not my favourite. They just had a discount.
I never said it was. All I'm saying is they flick your bean, and this is what beer comes down to. And we can sit here talking shit for fucking hours on end. But the bottom line is this plant that you can't smoke and it doesn't get you high, because I've tried, is a wonderful thing, and it goes in beer and it makes it taste good, and that's what it's all about.
Have you tried setting hops on fire, by the way? Because it does
Yes, I
smell
have.
like weed.
I've smoked Simcoe, and it was not good.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I coughed for an
So-
hour.
It definitely
Guys.
has that ganja smell, though.
It definitely does smell like weed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is the wonderful thing, and we've all gone through and we've brewed multiple recipes, and we've got all of these amazing fucking combos that we all know and we all love, and we're about to share with the brewing world via the wonders of YouTube and a live stream. And we've got 22 people. We've had 92 playbacks on this fucking thing. That's the most we've ever had. We have 22 people sitting in the fucking channel at the moment talking shit with one another. This is what hops do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because above all else, the thing that makes a beer is the hops that sit on the top.
True. Hops
Aside
are
from the
an
yeast.
important part of beer. I would agree. So, hop combos. Come on, guys.
Let's do it. Saz and
What's up?
Pearl, everything else can fuck off.
That's
Shut up,
interesting.
Chris.
All right, Mr. Noble fucking right.
Chris.
Scott.
What does the pearl bring?
Pearl kind of just brings a roundness to it. It's a very, very weird hop pill. On its own, it's actually not that nice. But with
Alright.
Saz, it kind of rounds it out and it brings this floral kind of, not quite peppery, but almost spicy note. It's kind of when you go in and you order the butter chicken. You know there's chili in there, but you're not really sure why.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
what the Pearl's
Pearl
like.
brings. It just rounds everything out. It's a beautiful, beautiful hop.
Now, here's sorry, but I do have a shitload of Saz and Pearl that I got in the sleeping bags. So
Make
how
a
would you?
Pilsner.
Yeah, so obviously, but the Pearl, would you use that for bittering at 60, or would you use it throughout?
I would use it throughout with almost an equal quantity of Saz.
Saz and Pearl. Okay, right. Cheers.
Okay, as we're on the Noble tick at the moment, I just want to throw in a couple of slightly more obscure combos from beers that I've made and beers that I've made more than once that have worked really well. SARS and Aurora hops, which are a variety of Styrian Goldings,
Okay.
I would give that a
work
definite high
fucking
five.
great. And also on the Styrian Goldings varieties front again, Bobek and Hallertau as a combo.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, that's as far as like the slightly left field noble hop combos. That's my contribution there. Anyway,
Tricky. I don't think that's left field at all, because I think Bobek is one of those hops that just sits wonderfully on top of a noble.
Oh no, totally. But you can mix that one with like some of the
It's that
more
spice.
fruity US hops as well. It's just a nice
yeah.
like.
It's a spice and something else. So we did what was the one we did, the wee Vienna, and it was Saz, but then it had the kind of wine sort of thing. So I think it was Nelson at the time, but I did, was it Hallertau Blanc, and that sort of wine spice was just fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, like,
It was
just generally
addictive.
speaking, like putting SARS or any of the noble hops underneath some of the other more modern ones, I think for me it's like something that's being massively underused at the moment. Like,
Definitely.
you
That's what I
think
was talking
about it as
Hallertau, the Mandarin
No, go on.
Bavaria and Saz, like,
yeah.
do it.
Well, I think you can do that in like IPAs and APAs and things like that as well. It's like just that extra level of sort of noble spice and floral flavor and maybe a bit of earthiness as well. Just like we've mentioned this a lot already, but like just adds like that layer, that depth of flavor. The West Coast Pils that I've done recently has got SARS and Talus and some Arsenum in it, and I don't think it would be anywhere near as good as it is for me personally to have the SARS in there. There's like, a lot of people would just go, West Coast, you just throw all the C hops in, all the American hops in. But for me, like, put a classic Pilsner base in there first, and then put some fruity like American hops on top of it, and then you're looking at something that's like really going to taste good.
Now we have somebody in the chat who's popping his live stream cherry, and that's Dan Walters, a mate of yours, Tricky.
Yes, Dan. Well, no, he's from the Worcester Homebrewers Club.
Oh,
but
sorry,
I've known him through the Homebrew Club connection, and
it's like this far away on a map. So the reality
Worcester
is,
and Bedford. There's Chris's geography coming in again.
This far away. It's this far away. It depends on the scale. It's this far away. So Dan is taking.
I don't pop round for a cup of tea regularly, anyway. That's for sure.
He's saying Mittelfru and Talus. Now we've just talked about the scaffold that the nobles provide for the other hops.
I mean, he may be joking, but I bet that would taste good.
I bet that would fucking work. This is the thing that most people don't take into account when they're talking about their amazing hop combos. Vic Secret and Amarillo, banging. Citra and almost everything.
Although Luke Stevens is not agreeing at all. He's like, no.
Yeah, well,
he's not feeling it.
Luke's got a beard. We'll leave it there. So the point is, what we're saying is, sometimes the unexpected gives you a great result. Utilizing the nobles as a base, as a concrete foundation from which to build, sometimes will lead to wonderful, wonderful results. Don't discount Mittelfru and Talus until you fucking tried it, because it may turn out to be the same as Saz and Nelson, which is a fucking fantastic combo.
Yeah.
Don't discount anything until you have tried it, except for just using Magnum throughout a brew. That's just wrong. Don't do that ever.
But I don't know. Don't discount it, Chris.
It's wrong. It's fucking wrong. This is what we're saying. These amazing hop combos. Owen's gone very quiet. He's almost asleep. I think it's because he hasn't had enough food. But these amazing hop combos, these are ones that we've tried and that work. So let's go through these hop combos, guys, because there's a fucking fair few of them there.
I think you were up to, was it Citra and everything?
Citra just works with everything. I think that's kind of the definitive answer.
I'm kind of at that point where I'm doing any pale, I'll do Citra and something, because Citra's such a good base.
I mean, look at literally at the minute, probably 80% of the commercial beers out there will be Citra and something else.
Yes.
You're
or
saying
Mosaic and something else, or Citra and Mosaic and something else.
So Citra and Equinox, Chris. This
Beautiful.
is the next one. That's what I've got in the fermenter right now.
In an IPL with a Vienna base, Citra and Equinox, if you use Voss, is a fucking fantastic combo.
I think on this sort of note, in terms of like the hops that are kind of like the combo hops that work with everything else, Citra is one. Amarillo is another for me.
Oh, yes.
Centennial is another that kind of just works with everything else. Do you guys have any others that are sort of a not necessarily a hop that you would lead with, but a combo hop that you always pair up with other stuff? Apart from those ones,
I think Columbus is pretty good.
that's a good shout. Actually, like I've been using Columbus a hell of a lot recently, and the tendency is like, oh, it's a bittering hop, we'll just put it in for bittering, but actually as a like late boil or whirlpool hop with the other fruity ones, it really sort of, for me, makes the other hops sing. It's like just puts in a like base level
Is that CTZ?
not wanting to go back to the dankness thing, but that like weed sort of, dankness sort of flavor.
Tricky is Columbus CTZ, no?
Yeah, Columbus, Tomahawk, or Zeus is what CTZ stands for. So basically the same shit.
Yeah, that shit's highly rated. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of legs, as Tricky said, in outside of just a bittering hop.
Yeah.
CTZ
I mean,
is one
saying
of
that,
those wonderful base hops.
I've done an all Columbus beer, and I really wasn't that keen on it, to be honest. And it's
okay.
For me, it is one of those where it's like, as part of a blend, great. Not my favorite, like as a standalone. Although some people will swear by it as like, you can do an all Columbus IPA, but not for me unless you want super like, dank and herbal and quite. So it gets to a point where it's almost too pungent in a beer, where it's like
I think
a bit off-putting.
Chinook is similar. Chinook has
totally.
that kind of really super piney
Is it sticky?
contribution. And it's sticky. It's got that resinous thing that Columbus has, but adds like a pininess as well.
Chinook can kind of go to the point where it's almost like a wood resin kind of thing, where it just makes it taste woody if it's on its own. For me, I think.
But I think that's another one that can help accentuate the like. It kind of underlies the other hops that are like singing above it, and it almost it makes the other hops more present because of its earthy, piney sort of undertone.
Yeah, definitely. I think you see that in a lot of commercial beers, actually, that Chinook is one of those that sort of is there as a bit part player. It's not like the lead hop, but you'll quite often see it as like the second or third hop on the list in a beer. Like
Tricky West Brewery had this GPA they did, right? German Pale Ale. And it was like, I tried it at first, and they tried to do all noble kind of noble hops and like this India Pale Ale type thing, and it was pretty spicy, horrible. And then I tried it, was it about 6 months ago, when they had this birthday bash thing, and it was just this sticky sort of like orangey tangerine type thing with the spice. And it was because they changed it up and put Chinook into it with the nobles, and it was dynamite how good it was.
Yeah, that's it for me. I think some of the beers where you're mixing up those OG American hops with some of the nobles, where you're getting some really interesting flavors going on. Definitely.
Yeah, like Chinook, I just thought that just fixed it, sort of thing. It definitely just blending Chinook into things, and I've even taken a note for a future brew to do something with Chinook to try and get that sort of sticky, sort of dank thing that was coming through, that was almost that kind of orangey thing. It was just
1
really
second.
good.
We've got some people in the chat who are quite concerned about Owen. Owen, can you do me a favor and just send me your mobile phone number via PM, mate, please?
Yeah, will do.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Have I gone to sleep?
No, it's all right. There's Jay Fork and a few other people told me I need to order you a kebab, so Unikebab's getting an order. I just need your phone number because I'm sitting on Unikebab at the moment and they require a phone number for the order. There's no point in phoning me.
I've got a bag of bacon.
No,
rashes.
seriously, fuck off. There's a kebab coming your way. Give me your phone number. I've got your address already, so it's coming.
Don't open that bag. You need proper sustenance, Owen.
How fucking dare you live on a bagel? Come on,
Oh,
sort
how
it
good
out.
would it be to get a kebab at the minute, man? Fuck.
There you go. There's my number.
Everyone's now looking at fucking Justine.
I'm aware.
Where's
Yeah, I'm on Talia kebab.
Wow. Thanks, Chris.
No problem, man. I got you covered. You're looking tired, mate. You need. Oh no, they're now closed for deliveries. They won't take any more deliveries.
Oh, Devo. I'll open my bag of bacon rashes.
Oh, fuck's sake. I missed it by like 5 minutes.
Too bad.
Shit, I tried, bro.
I appreciate
It's always big stouts and tippers and
appreciate it.
dippers.
So good question on the chat from Adam. What about noble hops that pair with Australia and New Zealand hops?
All of them.
Well, what I would say on that is interesting. Like a lot of the New Zealand hops, particularly, are pretty much just noble hops that have been planted in New Zealand, one pairing of a sort of local hop with the nobles. So your sort of Wakatus and your Motuikas and stuff. Those are all kind of like SARS and Hallertau derivatives, which are just grown in New Zealand. And to be honest, like as far as lagers go and things like that, you can pretty much just sub those straight out. Like a Motuika as a lager hop instead of SARS is fucking awesome. Wakatu is like a noble in German sort of beers. I used Wakatu in the Kempston Kolsch that I sent you, Chris. Just like, totally has all that noble flavour and just that slight sort of fruity, limey thing that's just, I mean, with Wakatu especially, it's totally, very much more subtle than things like, the thing I like about New Zealand hops is you have a range of flavour where it's like there's the super subtle kind of fruitiness that you get in things like Wakatu and Motuika's a step above that, but then you go up to like things like Nelson and Rawaka and stuff where it's super intense flavour and very oily. But I think all of them have some kind of like noble hop heritage, don't they, as far as I'm aware?
I have this weird feeling, right, that all New Zealand did is they put a phone call in to somebody in Germany and went, just send it a rhizome of all your hops and we'll bring them over here and we'll try them. I mean, I've said this a million times, right? UK Cascade is nothing like American Cascade. American Cascade and UK Cascade are literally fucking worlds apart from New Zealand Cascade. So much so, they renamed it Kohatu, right? Because it is American Cascade. Doesn't it top out around about 7% alpha?
No, it's Tahiki, the New Zealand
Tahiki,
version.
sorry, not Kohatu. Tahiki.
Kohatu's fucking awesome as well, though, by the way.
Kohatu's beautiful.
I am disappointed that I've not seen that available in the UK since I tried it the first time, because that was actually probably one of my favourite New Zealand hops after the other ones that we mentioned anyway.
You know what you need? You need family in New Zealand, mate. That's what you need.
Well, I'll ship some of them over there next time.
Just fucking send some of them over there. Let them be your hop delivery routes.
Yeah.
But this is the wonderful thing. Okay, we have New Zealand, which produces this wonderful limey flavour in 99.9% of their hops, and you end up with this beautiful flavour. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about the link actually. Weirdly enough, it's just sprung to mind. The link between Nelson and Hallertau Blanc. I'm fucking convinced they are the same hop grown in different climates. They're so alike, it's untrue. But again, Nelson, much higher alpha, much more lime flavour. This is the wonderful thing about hops, okay? Depending on where you are, what the soil's like, what the sun's like, what the rain's like, the consistency of the rain, all of these things will play into what that hop tastes like. And this is the wonderful fucking thing about hops. we can sit here and talk all day about these amazing fucking pairings that we've got. Talus and Mosaic, apparently the Ginger Ninja himself, Mr. Graham Preston, the man who was named after the dog in Wallace and Gromit. These are just pairings that we know work. First Golden Fuggles, persistently bitter. It's in there. It's all the time. Columbus and Azaka, Amarillo and Simcoe, Talus and Mosaic, Kashmir and Idaho 7. Kashmir and Idaho 7 in a fucking IPL with a Vienna base is godlike. Okay? But all of these hops, there's so many pairings that you can do. We are almost at the point where there is, I'm pretty sure we're into 9 or 12 figures when it comes to the number of different hop pairings.
I mean, we could just go down this list and just read them all out and go, these are all great. But what are your go-to? Like, let's not just say one pairing, but what are your top 3 pairings?
Are we talking about what's in our fridge that we can't live without?
Well, no. Let's before we get onto that, let's just like what your favorite pairings of hops. We've got a list there, but it doesn't like say what your personal perspective on it is. Like,
if I'm going to make a pale ale, I will go Galaxy and Vic Secret.
Okay, yeah.
I love that pairing in a pale ale, especially the way that I use a pale ale with the base. A little bit of caramel, Maris Otter, Galaxy and Vic Secret. Wonderful, beautiful. Fermented out with London Fog 3, London Ale 3, whatever it's called.
London Ale 3, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful beer. If I'm going noble, Saz and Pearl fermented out with L17 or Urkel, L13. No, L13's global, L11 Urkel, whatever it is. Whatever that is. Standard Pilsner with a little bit of Vienna. That's my go-to sort of noble. IPL always will be forever now and forevermore. Citra and Equinaut fermented out with Voss. Beautiful, beautiful beer.
Citra and Equinaut.
Citra Amarillo is amazing in an IPL. I had that Tangerine Lager. Oh my God.
Okay, well, Andy, what's your favourite 3 hop combos?
So was it the Citra Sabro Galaxy was dynamite in that Nipid Out Man Up. Like, that was like ultimate juice sort of thing.
I'd just like to clarify for this one, for everybody else who's listening. The Nipid Out My Nut was a 22.7% beer that Andy produced for his mate's birthday. I'm fairly sure the beer may have had, the alcohol may have had more to do with it.
That's a Scottish premium strength beer, 22.7%. Yeah.
No, it was 7.9%, and at the end of the video, everyone was fucked. Even
tonic Nipah, wasn't it, Andy?
Even like
tonic Nipah?
hiccups a lot, man. It was hilarious. But yeah, that sort of combo.
This many pisses on a podcast for a long, long time.
Yeah, I've had 2 pisses as well, Chris. It's a bit unusual.
I'm on my third, bro.
He just wants to go and check out the hedgehog action outside. Bow, wacka, wow, wow.
But Galaxy's such a weird. Galaxy's such a weird one, kind of on its own, because it's almost like a peppery sort of spicy thing going on.
Oh man, I've got to be honest. I've kind of fell out of love with Galaxy a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, when I first used it, it was literally like the hops out the bag smelled like fruit salad, sweets, and it tasted like that in the beer as well. And it's just never been the same since, really.
If I'm honest, I've not ever really understood the big deal about Galaxy.
Yep.
Well, no, but that's what I think. What I'm saying is, I think that people have been chasing this flavor profile that it started out with, or that was maybe only available to
about 5 years ago,
5 or 6 years ago.
2016 Galaxy.
It literally has never even come close to it. I mean, honestly, like I know, like your flavor perception and your understanding of hops and all the rest of it will change over time, but I literally remember the first sort of bag of Galaxy hops I bought. I opened it. It was like fruit salad sweets was what it smelled like. And I was just like, oh, this is the best hop ever. Made a beer with it, and it literally had that flavor profile to it. It was just like tropical fruits up the fucking yin yang. And
some of the best beers.
And it's never been there.
I don't know, like Sabro Galaxy Simcoe. Like,
I'm
was a
not
massive
saying
sunset,
it,
and it was
it can't give you something in combination,
really nice.
but as a standalone hop on its own, I just can't
No,
see
that's what I'm
myself
saying. No,
brewing a Galaxy IPA on its
There's
own
a-
because
no
I think
way.
I would
No
I would
way.
literally
Like-
be disappointed by it.
There's a bit of homebrew romance that has come with Galaxy
Sabro.
that, in reality, I would say the last 4 or 5 years of crops has not delivered.
You boys were
Just
talking about
100%.
Sabro in the same
Despite
sense.
No,
the
but
fact that the price
I
per
don't
bar-
know whether it's because we're not getting the good Galaxy or whether it's just literally not at that level that it was when it was, I don't know. I mean, there's so many commercial breweries that still make these Galaxy beers that are great, but then at the same time, a lot of them, I kind of get the same flavor profile from it that I get in the beers that I make with it now. And it's just never been the same since. Like, if Chris is still holding on to those 2016 Galaxy hops, I'm like, just fucking brew some beer with it and send it out to us, you
I've
fuck.
only got 40 grams left.
40 grams. Oh shit.
I've only
That's
got
not-
40 grams. It's enough for a Whirlpool edition on my Galaxy Motueka and Waimea beer that I make.
Yep, send me one of those, please. It's sort of like those.
Richard Brooks just saying he's glad he's just bought a kilo of Galaxy. Yep, enjoy
Yeah.
those hops.
Yeah,
Well done.
enjoy those hops, Rich.
Rich,
They'll be
do
good.
it with Sabro. Mix
They'll
it with Sabro and Citra or something like that, and it'll be
They'll
awesome.
be good.
No, look, I mean,
They'll not be good.
I feel like I need to qualify this by saying
Blend.
like they're
It's so
they're
good.
not going to be awful. It's just
No, you need
they're
you
not
need
they're
to
not the
pick.
Galaxy that I still have in my head that I want to
It's
be
like
making beers with.
sex. Galaxy is like sex. The first time you have sex, it's fucking wonderful. It's amazing. It's a mind-blowingly,
As a fuck,
life-changing.
it was sore as fuck.
Hey, I'm
And there
not
was
being
blood
funny, but
everywhere.
you
I don't know
clearly
what
did
you're
not have
talking
this, you clearly did not lose your virginity with the girl that I did. Okay, it was a mind-blowing experience, and
Back at someone's garage.
yeah, mine wasn't. Mine was in her bed, but it was an amazing experience, and Galaxy will never be the same after 20.
Don't remember and don't think it actually finished.
Just
It's
don't
pretty
ask
much
that
what most
lassie
people
what
think.
she
I
thought.
definitely finished because I had to wipe it off. Anyway, this is the wonderful thing about hops, right? We can sit here and we can talk about it, but different years crops have different profiles.
Yeah, Mosaic 2017. Don't do it.
You will never, ever, ever recreate the same beer ever again. And anybody who's talking about consistency within beer has clearly never had to put up with the difference between 2016 and 2018 Galaxy. Because if you've ever had to fucking quantify the difference between those two, it's like one's amazing, one really fucking wasn't. One was the fucking peak, the creme de la creme of the Galaxy crop. The other one was the sticks left behind.
Fuck
Okay,
me.
that's the
We're
difference.
talking like wine merchants here, you know.
We are, but
Oh,
this is the terroir of the hop world. See, Tricky.
No,
see
but
what
I mean,
said?
look,
It's
to
so
be
true.
fair,
harvest.
this is it's almost like the hop that sums that up for me more than any other is
It's
Galaxy, because
Galaxy.
I mean, like Andy, you were talking about Mosaic, and I totally
2017,
agree,
like,
because
fuck.
there was a batch that I got as well, which was just almost not
Horrendous.
to the point where it was not
It was
to the
just
point where
weird.
it didn't change the flavor. It just completely fucking ruined some of the beers that I put it in. Do you know what I mean? And that was like, but it still kind of tasted similar to Galaxy, just in a weird way. But like, sorry, Mosaic. But like the Galaxy is like, it seems to have just completely like disappeared from what might. And I know, like Chris is saying, like, oh, the first time you taste it is gonna be totally different, but like, sense of smell is something that sticks in your memory, right?
Definitely.
So when you smell like hops out of the bag for the first time and go, oh fuck me, that smells like fruit salad sweeties. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's literally what stuck in my head, is like that first 100 gram. And this was very, very early on in terms of my home brewing sort of
2016, baby.
journey. And yeah, it would have been like 2015, 2016 or whatever. And it's literally not even got to the point of brewing with them. It's been that opening the packet and sniffing literally just the hop pellets and going, oh fuck, it's another disappointing batch of Galaxy. Do you know what I mean? So that's That's where I'm coming from on that one. It
Yeah.
just doesn't quite. You kind of know when you take the top off the hop bag whether they're good or not, because if the aroma doesn't like sort of hit you in the face, it's like. And for me, Galaxy, like the good Galaxy, was straight up fruit salad, bang in your face, and it's never really done that since for me.
See the Equinox that I got on the free, it was crazy when you started using it. It was just so sticky. Like when you compare it to all the other hops,
that's the other thing. Like you can tell with the feel of the hops in your hand, can't you?
You're
like,
just like,
when
holy
they're
shit.
sticky hops.
Yeah.
When you can
With
tell like there's so
oil.
much oil in them, they're loaded. And like
Yeah.
the Galaxy pellets that we've been seeing in like recent years all seem to be that really hard, like dark green kind of hops rather than the sort of crumbly, sticky ones.
I think it's, as you say, it's because breweries have been taking all of the Galaxy and we've been left with whatever's left.
No, I'm pretty sure that is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Owen, there's a lot of concern in the chat about your health, mate. Order a kebab, mate.
I'm just
he's chilling.
I'm tired of shit, and I think actually like it's been for me a really, really interesting addition of the podcast, because you and Tricky clearly have a lot more experience with brewing than what I do, and I don't think I'm at a stage in my brewing experience that I have brewed enough to be able to know what hops really pair with other hops. I haven't made enough beer to be able to go, yeah, those hops go well with those hops.
It's not through any sort of planned experimentation. It's just lucky chance.
Absolutely.
Occasionally, you hit a combo and go, right, I'll go back to that one because it works. Do you know what I mean? It's,
Owen, I'll be honest with you, mate, and take this however you want. For the first 3 years of my home brewing life, I never brewed the same recipe twice.
Yeah,
I didn't.
And in fairness, that's a bit like where I am. I've brewed very few beers more than once.
Yeah,
I got to the point where I nailed down 6 recipes, and they became my rotation for a year.
That's where I'm going, Chris. I think
that's where I was at, and this is part of what a standard home brewer goes to. I mean, fucking Tricky sent me a golden ale that was hot purely with Olicana. It was one of the greatest beers I ever had. I tried to reproduce it. It didn't fucking work. And I'll tell you why. Tricky used 2018 hops. I used 2019. 2019 were completely different to 2018.
Yeah, Olicana's been gash ever since as well. Exactly. That's another example.
It's the same as Galaxy. This is the wonderful thing. If you are lucky enough to get,
not necessarily a wonderful thing.
I don't know if that's wonderful. It's fucking,
I'm not saying it's
cunting ass.
I'm not saying it's not cuntish in any way, shape, or form. But if you were lucky enough to bang in like I did and grab some 2016 Galaxy when it was the fucking de facto Don, you were on it for a year with your Galaxy brews. Or, if you're brewing with the fucking rate that I brewed in an IPL, then you were on it for 2 brews. But there's all these other hops and everything changes, everything shifts, everything becomes different depending upon the year. Yes, Andy.
Chris, I wonder if this is why the breweries go and do these hop walks, so that they can go and touch the hops and feel the oils and get the good smell and say, that batch, okay, I would never, maybe they would say, Olicana or whatever, or, like just a pure off the cuff hop, like, that's the Cascade of that year. Cascade we don't normally use, but holy fuck, this Cascade from 2021, you smell that, how good that is. Let's get that in.
It all comes down to this. Those breweries have a fucking advance ticket to all of these hop companies. Yeah. And they walk down the vines, they pull one off, they rub it between the fingers, they smell it, and they go, I want this hop.
I want this bit of the field.
I want this bit of the field, and I want that hop. I want this, I want that. I want it turned into T90, and I want it delivered to my brewery.
Yeah.
And these are the super massive breweries. These are the fucking big ones that are the macro craft, for want of a better term. And everybody else is just left with the shit that's left behind.
Is it shit or is it just different?
No, but I think like as homebrewers, we are literally just going, I'll buy that hop. I've got no idea really what I'm getting. You just buy it, right? But you buy it under the preconception of what you taste within commercial beer.
This is a very good point.
So that that sometimes the delta between what you taste and what you actually buy are two quite different things.
Absolutely. What I get in a beer from, let's say, Arbor is going to be totally different to what I can get from the malt miller.
Oh, fucking Arbor Ales, man. Absolute legends.
I haven't put an order in with Arbor for quite a while.
Absolute legends.
It's a wonderful thing. And, me and Tricky talked about this on the last podcast. We had a 45-minute eulogy about palates and taste and malts and backbones and yeast and everything. A beer is very much more than the sum of its parts. Okay, it's almost chimeric in the way in which it works. You have these wonderful different ingredients that you mix together and you produce something which is amazing. And we can sit here and we can talk about all of these hop pairings and stuff, but the reality is it depends on the base that you're going to use. It's a completely different thing. I think the more telling thing, the more definitive thing.
Where are we at? We on to the what's in our fridge bit?
If you
listen, leading into that.
If you listen, I'm doing a fucking fantastic segue here.
Oh, sorry. Just continue your spiel. Go on.
You cunt. This is one of those. We can sit here and we can talk about these fantastic hop combos that we've all tried. But the reality is, the more telling factor is, what do we always have, irregardless? What do we always have in our fridge? I'm going to throw this one open to the chat as well. There's 18 people currently sitting there talking shit about beer. Guys, in the chat, write me a message and tell me, what hops do you always have in your fridge? Owen, what hops do you always have in your fridge?
Oh, I think, like Citra Mosaic's a standard. Columbus for hop.
I think we can pretty much all just say Citra Mosaic is
standard.
Okay,
right?
let's ignore that.
That is absolutely standard, right?
No, okay, hang on. There is some controversy there. Apparently.
No, literally, I have zero Mosaic.
Yeah,
you must have Citra though.
Oh, I've got fucking kilo.
Fuck yeah.
Well, at least Citra then.
I personally love Mosaic, right? I'm a big Mosaic fan, and that is always going to be in my hop fridge. Columbus. I love Columbus. I think it's a great bittering hop.
Not Magnum.
I respect Magnum. I always will have Magnum in there, but Magnum's like the clean bittering hop.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus is like the bittering hop if you want some flavor with it.
It's the dirty bitch, right? Isn't it?
It's the dirty
bitch.
It's the dirty bitch hop.
You can put it in any hole. It's the dirty bitch hop.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you're going if you're gonna want a bit of something clean,
what's the dirty bitch hop? Sorry, I missed
Columbus.
that one.
Columbus.
Well, yeah, I was going to put that in my list of.
But equally, you
any holes a goal hops.
Absolutely.
Right. But you guys said earlier, I think Columbus needs to be experimented more with late hop additions and into the whirlpool, maybe even the dry hop. So
yeah,
I've got loads of Columbus, and I fully intend to experiment with that. What else? I mean, I've got loads of Cascade, but I never really use it. And
I'm the same.
But what else is go to in the fridge? It's just more or less.
Ginny.
More or less all of the super fruity hops like Azaka, Equinox, Eldorado.
I really love Equinox.
It's just
Brewcat Brewery,
options.
Magnum for the pink, Columbus for the stink.
Yes.
That's how it rolls. That's how it rolls.
Yes, Richard.
What else? And then I've got a whole load of British hops.
Yes.
right? For whenever I want to brew a British
You've
style.
got it.
Get the beer engine.
Fuggles.
Yeah, so it's like Fuggles,
Fucking
First
Fuggles.
Gold,
Fuck! Look at
Goldings.
some of the obscure varieties. J-Fog is just.
I've got,
Yeah, he's
Very
busting
nice.
I
out
have
some
to say-
fox and some
Warrior,
dragon.
fuck off.
Right
He's
now-
posted syphilis, lung disease.
Somewhere
Species.
in Japan.
I have to say,
These are not hop varieties I'm familiar with, J-Fog.
the person whose post really surprised me the most is Mark Trentham, who's turned around and said EKG and Comet. I mean, you can't argue with it. It's a wonderful hop pairing, not necessarily together, but certainly for two different beers, EKG and Comet, beautiful hops.
Oh no, we're talking about like store cupboard.
Right,
hops,
hold
though, aren't
on,
we, now,
hold on.
rather
Yeah,
than
but
EKG.
EKG is like definitely in the mix.
Wait.
Like,
EKG
is
are
like-
Fuggles, guys. EKG are Fuggles.
I'd
Fuggles.
go EKG.
Tricky.
Well, the one that I've used most is EKG, but I've got Fuggles. To be honest, I haven't used Fuggles that much until recently, so
Do the 5 points. Do the 5 points best, right?
that's why I've got a 500 gram bag of Fuggles, because it's literally to make that beer.
I
so
just
Yes.
think
my
EKG
judgment will depend on that brew. Like EKG for me is not really like a hop that I'm like, oh yeah, you've got to use that.
Yeah.
It's just like the sort of fallback standard.
It's a kind of
English
floral.
hop. It's
It's
more
a floral
versatile.
English. It's floral English.
Yeah,
sort of
I mean,
thing
to be
where
honest,
it's-
like, I'd rather have a big bag of Challenger versus EKG anyway. So like Challenger for me is a good all round hop.
Loving your challenger.
Brett Harmon's just come on. He's clearly hammered and he's gone, can you repeat the question, please? Not a fucking exam, Brett. What hops do you always have in your freezer? Always. Guaranteed. And as soon as you run out, you buy more. Which hops?
Etc.
This is one of those questions like,
Have we gone round the table yet? By the way,
no.
Is everyone done
I've
their
still got to do
answers?
mine. So it's Mittelfruit, Saz, Pearl, Amarillo, Azaka,
Oh,
and Citra.
surprisingly high number of noble hops there, Chris. I was quite shocked
Those are
there.
the ones. I would throw Equinaut into that. However, Equinaut has proven with its 2020 batch to be kind of a galaxy. The 2020 is nowhere near as good as the 2019.
Yeah,
I'm
I've noticed
literally
that.
drinking an Equinaut pale at the minute. Is what I'm drinking. So an
I've
Equinaut.
not got a beer in
Oh.
a glass at the minute.
Oh, Equinaut is just.
I'm pretty
something
pissed though, I'll
else.
be honest. That fucking farmhouse beer's kicked my ass.
Really, really like it.
I might pull another one of those farmhouse beers. out my
Who's
ass.
next on the store cupboard hops then?
Well, Owen was interrupted when he was going through his.
Owen said mosaic. Bit more
No,
mosaic. And
Owen
then
was-
some mosaic.
No,
I think
did
Owen
not.
was
Sorry,
interrupted.
Owen.
No,
Carry on. Did
no.
we interrupt you?
It's fine.
We
I'll,
did.
I'll return to my slumber.
Just eat some more bacon frazzles.
I want to hear more about what Owen was thinking because I thought it was really good.
No, I was talking about Columbus, and I think that's where it kicked off.
Yeah.
Columbus, I think like some good English styles you've got to have in the fridge. You've got to have some
Defo.
nobles, right? There's some notes. So I think it really depends on the style of beer
Grambling.
you want to brew, right? So for me, I want to be able to have the flexibility of brewing English styles, German styles, but
Yeah.
primarily, right? My hop storage is
It's gonna be
mostly made up
American-
of
juice.
American juice hops, right? So
Yeah.
it's El Dorado and Azaka and Amarillo and all those kind of like fucking loads of Cascade that I never use and I should, but I don't.
That 5 kilos.
Everyone's
you bought
got loads of kilos.
with
I
fucking
don't they?
Cascade is the same. I've
I
got
would
5
just
kilos of
like
this
to
shit.
draw attention to the fact that everybody's talked about Cascade being an OG and nobody's fucking willing to use it.
Nobody uses it. No.
That it's good.
I
but-
do throw just a smidge into the occasional pale ale to justify the fact I've got a kilo of it in the freezer. As
It's
the-
the wonderful thing about Cascade. It's a fantastic fucking hop, and if
Oh,
we were
It goes
If we
in really
were-
well with dark beers.
The
Dark
thing
beers.
is that, to be fair, like
stouts,
every time I
porters,
go back and have
Jackson
like a
Cascade.
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I'm like, oh, Cascade is so good. I
And
should
then
really
you never
do
brew it.
another. I
And
then
should
you
do
never
a
fucking
Sierra
brew it.
Nevada clone again, and I just like,
Totally.
and then I go, I don't really fancy that. I'm going to make something Mosaic and Citra.
This is the thing. This is what
this
we're
new
talking
hop I
about.
bought.
Yeah.
You know, we've all become fucking hop snobs.
Yeah.
We really have. Everybody's sitting there going, fucking hell, it's talking about me.
Fuck
I am
yeah.
talking about y'all. I'm talking about every motherfucker in the chat as well. We've all become hop snobs. We want the latest and greatest. We want the best and
We
the baddest.
do, yeah. We're all about the like, what's the newest hop? Oh, I'll order
Oh, fuck.
a kilo
Alright,
of
just a
that.
second. Let's have a show of hands, including the fucking chat and including the four boys, the three boys, well, the four boys in the fucking video. How many of you have got Sabro in your fridge, in your freezer rather, right now? Put your hand up.
Fucking right. Sabro's awesome.
Right? We've got Sabro. This is the
Who's-
thing.
That shit
Who's
was
got-
£10 for
who's
100
got-
grams at
who's
one
got-
point.
I've never
Who's got
bought any of
Talus?
it yet.
Who's got Talus in the fridge?
Yes.
Nah, I didn't do that one. I thought, nah, fuck that.
Yeah. This
Is Talus good? Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't brewed with it. I've got a kilo of
I've
it.
really enjoyed it so far. Yeah.
Owen?
Yeah. Yeah. it's
So
nice.
we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 people saying yes in the chat. We've got Cascade and never fucking used it. We've got 7 people saying they've got a Sabro and never fucking used it.
I
Or
fucking
they've
love
used it and they've
Sabro.
still got it in the fridge.
I've had a lot of really good beers out of Sabro from like the pails that I've done. Sabro's been fucking amazing.
We
And
can
I know,
What,
Like,
what
you
is
bought-
this
we
poor
talked
man's
about
Sabro
this.
shit? I see a lot of people saying this about Talus, that it's like the cut rate Sabro or something. I don't think that's the
Drink
flavour
my
I
beer.
get from it at all.
Lucky boys tell me to drink his Talus beer to find out what it's like.
But that's a
J4.
good point.
J-Folk wants to know who's got Mandarin of Bavaria. I have.
Fuck it.
It's, this is one of those conversations where we could sit here for days interacting with the fucking with the YouTube chat.
Well, hang on, I've not done my fucking like store
Go on,
covered
then.
hops yet.
Come on, then, what have you got? What have you got?
Okay, my store cupboard hops that are. It's
He's
basically the
looking at
ones.
his Brewfather fucking
No,
thing at the
that's
minute.
literally what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the ones that are in kilo
Oh,
bags, right?
well
So
done.
the,
You got it all
key-
inventoried and Brewfather tricky.
Oh yeah, that's how
I need
I
to do
roll,
that.
man.
I fucking need to do that.
It's actually like really useful when it comes to
Yeah.
like putting recipes together, because it's just like, oh, I've got loads of this. I need to fucking make a massively like Amarillo hot beer because there's a kilo of it in the fridge that's not.
Sounds
been touched. So anyway, yeah. Starting on that point, Amarillo is one that's in there
I've got it.
in quantity. Cascades and Citra, obviously. Mosaic, obviously. Columbus definitely is always in there in quantity. I mean, as far as the English hops goes, it's always like either EKG Challenger or Fuggles, basically. I think I already mentioned Mosaic and SARS, basically, and Simcoe. Always keep Simcoe in as well.
Simcoe's a
Simcoe
good
is
one.
like a go-to for me.
Unsurprisingly, I have 0 Simcoe in my freezer.
Why, Chris? Why is that? I
I don't know.
understand.
Maybe because it tastes
You've
like
never
Nicholas Pratt pissed in my
imparted
beer.
any opinions on Simcoe in any of the previous podcasts that I've noticed.
Yeah, J Fogg, seriously, go for your shed, go get another beer, mate. It's all good.
Oh dear.
This is one of those conversations. I fucking love these conversations, all right? Owen's clearly bored shitless because he's currently on Coinbase. We've got all these conversations going off about hops and stuff, and we could sit here for days and we could talk about them. But I think now that we've all listed our store cupboard staples, now would be a really good time to cut the live feed, fire up the after party, have another beer, and just sit here and just
Get
chat with the
fucked.
boys about it, because this is one of those fucking
Get
conversations.
fucked on the pod.
Owen,
the babies.
Owen, do me a favor. Order
It's
yourself a
good.
12-inch stuffed crust pizza, will you?
I'm probably just gonna go to bed.
Okay. I tried, guys. I tried.
Yeah.
This is a brilliant time. hops are a wonderful thing. We use lots and lots and lots of them, especially with current modern day brewing, even though Tricky with his fucking hop tester beers have proved we don't need to. But we're still going to throw 500 grams into a brew because we're all wankers.
It's just about the process and the recipe, guys. Come on. 100 grams
Fuck
is
you
enough.
and your beard and your fucking landing pad.
How
But
good
this-
was that though? The Harlequin, 100
It was
grams.
beautiful.
Fuck me.
Really nice.
Tricky, that
Really
was
nice.
beautiful. Really,
The
really
flame
nice.
can land on any spot on your head. Look at that. It's
Holy
fucking total landing strip.
It's only 'cause I've shaved.
That's an orbital landing strip.
Mate, if you're bald on the top, you're a thinker. If you're bald at the front, you're sexy. And if you're bald all the way through, you just think you're sexy. Just like me. Anyway,
Too sexy for
how about we'll open this one up. I'll throw a link up. I'll throw a fucking password up. You guys can join us. I'm gonna have to do it in Facebook though, because putting it bluntly, this would be a whole hell of a lot of problems. So, guys,
Joy's wrap up the pod.
that is the link to get in. The password I will post in a minute, which is
Don't get the light in it.
Simcoe is the best hop is the password.
it really isn't.
Everyone loves
That's the
Simcoe.
password. Okay, get yourselves in. We'll have a bit of a chat. We'll have a bit of a plant car truck crunch. There you go. Right, guys, jump in. We are all done and dusted. I'm going to cut the live feed right about now. Thank you for joining episode
starting?
32 of the Hop Edition. I don't know whether this one will make it out on audio because there's a 9-minute gap. on
Quite
my
possibly not, but
I
keep
think
it
so,
hoppy
yeah.
fresh.
It'll be
feed.
fine.
Keep your
We'll
hoppy
figure
fresh,
out.
guys. Hop Edition episode 2. We're out before this
See
person
ya.
starts talking. Love you.
Boom.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.